All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning on in. Everyone inside the Cookie Fresh chat. I know it's been a minute, but we are back and got something to get into. You guys, get in with you all today. Let's go.
FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG it's coming. 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 Oh, it's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. Thought his personality be twerking. It's twerking.
All right, yeah, he's still talking about FDMG. It's a whole bunch of mess, though. It's always some sort of a mess with this FDMG school scam that's been on and it's been ongoing for many, many years. It's been over a decade in point of fact. Yeah, it's not coming, but we hope and we wish. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. Everyone inside the Quick Fresh Chat. I know it's been a while. Was it last week? Yeah, I don't think I live streamed last week. I was mainly working on the documentary. I had other stuff going on. How's it going, Nina Boo? And also, Alakia, thank you for being here. But we did a live stream for members only last week to premiere the next segment of the documentary, and it went really, really well. It's about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours long, and I've already started on the next segment, which is 2013. All right, and I'm going to keep working on that and have that available for members very, very soon. Okay, so thank you guys. Also, thanks all the members for being a member because it helps as I progress through the Umar Johnson timeline with this documentary. We had a new member sign up too, by the way. Sammy Ray became a member. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. CJ says, tonight's game, take a drink for each different color in Umar's shirt. All right. I see you getting started already. Okay, so I didn't even know about this. Umar, he did an interview. It came online yesterday. Who was it? James. Shout out to James. He sent me an email to tell me about it. That's what we're going to watch. That's about an hour. It's about an hour long, so we'll probably be here for about maybe an hour, 2 hours. Be here for about 2 hours. And then my plan is for the rest of the week, unless Umar goes live, which he hasn't done quite some time on his Instagram page at the very least. He hasn't gone live there. My plan is to keep working on the documentary. So whenever Umar's not live streaming consistently, that's when I make real headway on this documentary. And then when he live streams, we'll get together, as normal. Okay. So that's what the plan is. Thank you, CJ. Thanks to everyone inside the Quick Fresh Chat as well. This Umar Johnson saga has been going on for such a long time. That's what I call it the Umar Johnson saga. There is a poll question for today, just to show you guys how long this has been going on. And I'll bring up the receipt to show you guys a little bit later on. The poll question is, when was FDMG originally supposed to open? We know here in 2026, it was supposed to open in 2026. Umar stated it was going to open in 2025. He also changed the date to 2027. Okay, that's the grand opening. But the real question is, what was the original grand opening date? Because it kind of gets lost in the sauce. So I showed the receipt. I've shown it many, hundreds of times over the years, and it kind of gets lost in the sauce. And the reason why it's relevant is because there are people who, when Umar does something like he'll clean some desk, his support base gets excited. Or he'll paint a wall, his support base will get excited. Or when he acquired these abandoned buildings in February 2019, his support base gets excited. But if you look at this in its totality and realize how long this has been going on, there's really nothing to get excited about. That's just Umar giving the illusion of progress so that people get excited and then they send more money. And that's what he's doing now. And then in addition to giving the illusion of progress, this cosmetic things that he shows people, he always has excuses. And there, we could put together a list of, we actually did, we started a list of different excuses that Umar Johnson has come up with. And if you put all this in the bigger context, a bigger perspective, and recognize how long this has been going on, you'll realize very quickly that Umar has no intention of opening up a school. It's a con game, it's a scam, but his support base gets excited, at least some of them. I think some of them at this point, they recognize now, okay, he's doing it to us again. You know, someone that recently, I could pull it up and read it to you, but they were like, what are you haters going to do when he opens up the school? People who say things like that, they don't know the history. And they haven't been around long enough. That's all. See, if I asked them, when did Umar conceptualize FDMG, they wouldn't be able to tell me. If I asked them, when did Umar Johnson say that, when was the first grand opening date supposed to take place? They couldn't tell me. When I said, okay, well, when do you know about the St. Paul's College? I don't even know about that. Well, how much money was he trying to raise initially for the St. Paul's College? When did that start? When did he collect his first donation? They can't tell you that because there's later on in the timeline, what I call the Umar Johnson timeline inside the documentary. Okay, so that's why it gets lost in the sauce. This whole thing of the original FDMG grand opening date, when it was posted, when he posted that, when the grand opening date was, when he conceptualized FDMG. And if you put that in you put this on the timeline, and here we are, April 21st of 2026, there's really nothing to get excited about because all we've seen is him changing the grand opening date. Based upon my research, I think it's like 30 times that I've found in my research, at least 30 times he's changed the grand opening date. And then on top of that, excuse after excuse after excuse, blaming other people over and over and over again. Okay. All right. What's up, 100% real man? Shout out to everybody in Texas and wherever y'all at. What's up, Black Wolf? Everyone's in the building as well. What's up, Francisco? Thank you for tuning on in. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, Chris. Yes, it's a long con. It's been going on for such a long time. Dr. Umar will help us get reference. Okay. All right. All right. If you believe so. Black Wolf says, Kukra Shat in Lenon and Umar first thought of FDMG right after the alien punched him in the face. He's seen stars and came too. I must open FDMG. Oh, yes, family. Oh, yes. So when did Umar, he told that alien story, but I have it in the timeline when that was. I can give you guys the exact, I know this is petty, but it's okay. So that was the alien story would have been, it would have had to have been in around 1982. So Umar was about 8 years old around that time, because I found another video where he talks about when his mother and father divorced, and then he says after that he went to Meade Elementary School, which was in 1983. He was in the 4th grade. So it's probable that was in 1982. It could be possible too in 1981, but in the documentary I'm going to go with 1982. Okay, so he was around 8 years old. That's a wild story. Okay, thanks, Blackfoot. Thanks for being a member for 64 months. Okay, so let's get into this. I don't want to hold y'all long today. We'll probably go for about 2 hours, and it's about an hour-long interview that Umar Johnson is doing here. TJ also said, Lenon, you ain't made $1 million? No, I haven't made $1 million. Well, maybe over the course of my life, yeah. But as of right now, no. Okay, not all at the same time, as Umar says. Thank you, TJ. I appreciate it. And then Ruby became a member. Thank you so much. Again, we have hundreds of videos for members here on my YouTube page. And then we also have segments of the documentary, the rough draft versions available already. I think it's probably about 6, maybe 7 hours worth of content right there. But then we have hundreds of hours of content for members only outside of that. So thank you guys so much, all you members. Okay. And then Lewis Suck says, the real question is, when did he start collecting money for it? He's been collecting money way before he bought that dump. 2004 at the earliest, by his own admission. I just can't find that video. Yeah, I don't have the video where he says 2004. What I do have is in 2010, Umar was talking about how he was talking about, he was talking about FDMG then, but he was also talking about FDMG ancillary or related programs. So aftercare program, he was also promoting something was Umar Johnson Boy Scouts, something to that effect. He didn't have any money for that, any of that. And then I've had people come onto my platform who talked about back then that they were donating to Umar for different programs and projects. And a lot of those programs and projects never came into fruition, including 2 books that he was supposed to write. He was collecting pre-orders for. I found another book that he was collecting pre-orders for in 2013. Unless he changed that into the Rules of Romance book, because it's kind of the topics are similar, then it would just be one. But I know for a fact he was collecting pre-orders for about in around 2013. Right. So the point is that Umar, he's been collecting money for different things, including his documentary, which was supposed to premiere in 2012. He was collecting donations for that still in 2021. Right. But in terms of FDMG, I'm going to go with what I have receipts for based on Umar Johnson's own mouth, coming out of his own mouth and on his post, because he did post in 2012 that he received donations in the form of land in San Bernardino, California, and also in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's donations. Okay, that'd have been a documentary. What he tells people that he started raising money in 2014, that's not true. That's when he started raising money specifically for the St. Paul's College. He went from 1 million to 2 million to 5 million. All that would be inside the document. Okay. And if anyone has a receipt earlier coming from Umar's own mouth, because that's what I'm going with the documentary, where he's asking for donations, because he was asking for donations in 2012. He was asking for buildings. I showed that inside of, this last segment of the documentary. I shared that with people. He lies about that too. He's been collecting money for a very long time and collecting donations for a very long time for the FDMG project. But if anyone has a receipt that goes before that, please send it to me. Okay, I'll cash app you $100. I think that's fair. Thanks, Louis. Okay, and then of course I've seen many people over the years say that that they sent Umar Johnson's donations for FDMG 2009, 2008, 2007. Even heard someone say 2006. Okay, but I haven't seen that in terms of Umar requesting. The earliest time I've seen Umar requesting donations specifically for FDMG was in 2012. Okay, thanks, Louis Luck. All right, so let's get into it. Make sure you guys, when you get a chance, to go ahead and vote on the poll. The poll question is, when was FDMG originally supposed to open? Okay, 2013, 2017, 2021, or 2025? Get your vote in during this live stream. And if at any point you enjoy this live stream, make sure you hit that like button. I'd appreciate that. Okay. All right, so let's get into it. This was an interview that came online yesterday, April 20th of 2026. All right, here we go. Let me know if I need to lower or raise the audio on this.
Test 1, 2, test 1, 2, 1, 2. Dr. Umar Ifatunde the Prince.
I don't know what he got on today. He got on a lot. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. He even got the lion necklace on and the beads, and he got on the wrists, the bracelets and everything. Okay, he don't look well too. I gotta say, he does not look well. And the setup, I can tell this person is probably just getting into the podcast space. What I would recommend is have the camera up closer, because there's too much headroom, if you will. I think maybe he's trying to get that picture up there, but the picture isn't inviting. I'm just giving you some aesthetic things to take a look at. If this person happens to see this video. The picture's not inviting. It actually is kind of creepy. You don't want that. The other thing is that if you have space in that corner over there, and you can put a plant there, like the one I have like this, but have one that's higher, and it can go up the wall. That would be another suggestion right there. And then I see that he has the podcast sign, and it's like on a wooden plank. If anything, that wooden plank thing should be on the wall. And then I guess, the rest of it's fine, but I would put that on the wall instead of having it sit on that small little cubby thing there. Anyway, just some suggestions here. And of course, Umar, the shirt is really popping. And I'm just saying that graciously. I think they're just getting started, because I looked, there wasn't a lot of views on this. Umar, he thinks Umar thinks he's so big time that he's the reason why these platforms get all these views, but really he doesn't take into consideration that when you go to the Breakfast Club, they already have their base, or they already had their base before Umar got on there the first time over a decade ago, where he said he had raised $500,000 back then. But see, if Umar goes on one of these, and no disrespect, because I can tell, I'm trying to give them encouragement and give them some advice to up their production value. It's all about production value. And it's not just aesthetic, but it's also in terms of the conversation. To be honest, you shouldn't have a scammer and a con man on your podcast in the first place. But if you're going to do that, that's your business. But there are some things that you can do in order to increase the production value. So I don't know if he had 31 subscribers, but it wasn't a lot of subscribers on there. And the video didn't get many views, at least when I had checked it yesterday. But Umar assumes that he's so big time, he's going to get, people automatically don't get 100,000 views. It don't work like that. Okay. Thank you, TJ. TJ also said, what happened with Umar's book club and date with the doc for $500? Yeah. Now that date with the doctor for $500, that's old. That's like, I can't remember what year it was, 2022 when he first proposed that, something like that. I have it in my notes. It reappeared in 2025. People brought it up again and it kind of went semi-viral. Okay. It was controversial, but that was from, I think it was 2022. But the other thing was the book club. The book club was a bad idea in the first place. And I even explained to people why it was a bad idea when he first brought it up on his Instagram page. Umar doesn't understand social media. He doesn't understand tech either to any significant degree, but he doesn't understand how social media works and how he can utilize it in a way to promote himself properly, but then also to generate income. I mean, this guy could be making $200,000, $250,000 a year easy on social media if he approached it the right way and if he had the knowledge base. And then if he was just somewhat tech savvy, he could do that. So the idea of doing a book club in 2025 or in 2026 and doing it virtually is ridiculous. Okay. Furthermore, there's all kinds of other things that Umar could do that will be way more profitable, because he was trying to get people to sign up for the book club, and they would have to sign up for a subscription to his Instagram page in order to sign up for the book club. Most people ain't trying to sign up for a book club in the first place. Furthermore, they're not going to be paying for, they're not going to be willing to pay for it and then do it over a platform like Instagram. That's not what Instagram is mainly for, unless you're like a published author, you have a fan base of millions of people or million people, you have 400,000, 500,000 subscribers, and they're there specifically for your writing, then that would make sense. But that's not why people are on Umar Johnson's Instagram page. You got to know your audience and understand, in terms of social media, give the people what they want. They don't want to do a book club. If you're going to do a book club, things have to be orderly. And on that page, it's just be specific for that. But Umar doesn't understand that. You guys go over his Instagram page, he's posting all kinds of just unrelated stuff. It's just a bunch of mess. But that's because he doesn't understand how social media works. So I called that out in the beginning. I said, no, that's not going to work. His book club, and lo and behold, it didn't work. See, Umar, he's come up with so many different things he said he's going to do. He's an idea person, but he never brings anything into fruition. And the biggest one, of course, is the FDMG school scam. All types of ideas about what he's going to do. Gun club, we're going to, build an observatory on the roof. We're going to teach the boys how to float ships and fly helicopters, and we're going to teach the boys how to fly airplanes. And he goes on and on and on. We're going to have a black men's conference and a white man's, and a black women's conference. We're going to have a yoga seminar. We're going to have a computer lab for the parents after school, and a workout weight room for the parents who want to come get their swole on at the night, whatever. Okay. That all sounds great, but nothing ever comes to fruition. So here's another example with the book club. What I even stated inside the document for 2012 is that Umar, what he tends to do is he comes up with things, and most of the time nothing comes into fruition. But then when things come into fruition, of those things that come into fruition, it's mainly virtual. But of those things that come into fruition that become actually tangible and real in the real world, they don't last very long. Like Team Pan Africanism. We'll get into that in the timeline for 2013. Okay. All right. Thanks, TJ. Let's see. Derek says 2 hours means at least 3 and change. And Cookie Crush chat unease. You have a point there. I've already run my mouth for 20 minutes in already. We ain't even gotten to the video. So you're probably right on that. But I'm going to try to go for 2. All right. Next time I'll make it 4. Okay. And again, I don't plan on live streaming tomorrow or Thursday, and I normally don't live stream on the weekend unless Umar goes live. Okay. All right. Thanks, Derek. But other than that, I'm going to be working on a documentary. I got to. At some point this decade, I got to get this documentary done. Library Blockchain says, I asked AI about FDMG. Here is its answer. It's a project with a lot of promises and very little delivery so far. You're absolutely right about that. See, again, ideas, these are promises. You know, initially when I started to consistently, no, I wasn't even when I'm consistent, but when I started doing Umar Johnson videos, I had stated a promise that goes unfulfilled is nothing more than a lie. And that sums up this FDMG project. Lots of promises about what he's going to do, when it's going to open, why it's important, why it's needed, why the money, the donations are needed, but nothing has come into fruition. This guy's collected millions of dollars, wasted a lot of time, and not one black child has been educated. If you guys think about this, Umar conceptualized this in 2004. It's 2026. That's 22 years of this. That's a long time to be wasting because nothing's come out of it. It's been a big waste. But part of it is that it's been promise after promise after promise, but it becomes a broken promise after broken promise after broken promise. And what that means is that Umar is a pathological liar. See, again, I always say for you Umar Johnson followers that if I ask you to give me 10 tangible things that Umar Johnson that has done that is real and tangible outside of running his mouth, what can you tell me? 10 things that's tangible, real, and impactful outside of running his mouth. But he's collected millions of dollars. Now, if he opened up a school, that'd be tangible and real. If he opened up a banking institution, as he always says, we need banking institutions, a supermarket. If he did that, it'd be tangible and real. If he was consistently working with black boys or black girls or black people for that matter, outside of running his mouth, that would be tangible and real. But all he do is run his mouth. And he makes promises and nothing comes out of most of it. 99%, 99.5% of the stuff he says he's going to do, he doesn't do. He'll collect money for it though. Where's the shockumentary? Where's the Rules of Romance book? He was collecting pre-orders for that. There's another book he was collecting pre-orders for in 2013. Doesn't exist. The list goes on and on. Show me one black child that's been educated at an FDMG after Umar's collected millions of dollars. And renovations aren't complete. He told people that they were complete in 2023, and he told people that they were complete in 2026. They're not complete. He promises, he lies. He promises, when you question him, he gets upset and deflects. And then he blames other people. Okay? All right. Thank you, Library Blockchain. Derek says, just drink from the bottle. Don't waste with the... No. What are you talking? Derek, what are you talking about? You don't need to waste with a cup. Just get some disposable cups. That's what we do. I thought that would cut down on the dishes, but evidently I was wrong on that. My kids, boy. Anyway, thanks, Derek. Thanks, Derek. Okay. Truth to Youth says, do you think interviewers know he's not going to open the school like the Breakfast Club? The Breakfast Club for sure. Now, the podcast that he's on that we're going to be reviewing today, I don't know how much research this person has done into Umar. See, anytime a podcast host has Umar on, they should do their due diligence and they should research Umar thoroughly. And there's enough information out there to make an educated decision. And they could make the decision to still have him on. Right, but they have to recognize what they are doing and how that can potentially impact other people. So, in particular, the Breakfast Club, they've had Umar on, I want to say 6, maybe 7 times over the last. It's been over a decade. And Umar has stated that he got, when the support really started coming in, it was after that first Breakfast Club interview. So what that does is that puts Umar on the national stage. And he has a specific target demographic, and that target demographic, a lot of that target demographic, they're watching the Breakfast Club. So he knew, and I'm sure that the Breakfast Club knew that Umar was going to get an uptick in supporters, subscribers, but more importantly, when it comes to this FDMG school scam, more donors, and that's precisely what took place. So what they're doing is they're promoting someone who's a con artist, who's a scammer, who's a fraudster and putting their audience in a position to where they're exposed to the manipulation of someone like Umar Johnson, someone like Polite, someone like Cesar Peña, right? They've had other people on there, Jay Morrison, and then they become victimized by these types of individuals, whether it's through donating to this fake cause or what have you, the Trust Fund or whatever, right? Real estate scam with Cesar Peña. So they know what they're doing, but they also know that these individuals are either going to get them views or they're in on it. They have to either be, it has to be both, or it's both or it's one or the other. So when in particular, when the Breakfast Club have them on, they know what the deal is. And there's other platforms, you know, Art of Dialogue, when they have them on, they know what the deal is. Now, question, does anyone think that the Art of Dialogue, and he's done fantastic work, does a fantastic job, but having Umar on it just compromises the platform? But are we to believe that Art is donating to FDMG every single week in support of Umar? Are we to think that DJ Envy is donating to FDMG every single week because he believes in it, every single month because he believes in it? Charlemagne, do you think that he's donating to FDMG every single month because he believes in it? Absolutely not. But they'll have them on because they know that it's going to bring in views, and views translate to money. So getting back to this truth to youth, what I think is that there are interviewers who know that Umar's a con man, but they have him on anyway because it's going to bring in views, it's going to bring in controversy, it's going to bring in money. But then there are people who they have interviewers who they haven't done the research, they haven't done their due diligence, and they platform Umar, and they don't realize who they have on. Okay, all right. Thank you for the super chat. CJ says Umar looks like he's cosplaying Jabba the Hutt. Listen, I don't know what he got on in this one, and he doesn't look well. I can tell he looks like he's been struggling. Okay, so it is what it is. I've seen this with Umar, the ups and downs, and hopefully soon he'll get it together. We're gonna see. Thank you, CJ. Shout out to all my sci-fi people out there. And how's it going? Miranda says, hey, Lenon Cookware Chat, looking forward to another great show. Okay, so let's get into it because I've been running my mouth now. It's 27 minutes. Okay. Thank you, Miranda, for tuning on in. I appreciate it. And thank you for the super chat. Thanks to everyone inside the Cookware Chat. And thank you for all of y'all support. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, I missed y'all too. I know it's been a while. Okay. And then 100 Footsie says Umar Johnson lying about FMG isn't breaking news at this point. Yeah, you're right about that. I totally agree. He started off lying. All of the promises, he started off lying, and he still lies. This guy, he lies on people too. He the brother Jose was the problem. It was the inspector. Now here's the problem, and the city of Wilmington was the problem, and the banking institution. He just all that is a bunch of lies. He even said I hacked his bank account. I hacked his bank account. Lying on me. He said I was gay too. That no, it's not true. He lies about everything. Where's your wife at? How about that? Let me stop. I have a video where Umar states it. He's never lived with a woman. Me and my wife been together for 25 years. And still going strong. Umar, you're not the one to talk. All he do is lie. Let me stop. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Bootsy. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a horrible accusation. I didn't appreciate it, and he ran with that. But the person who started with that that whole narrative, it was Poetic Flacco. But at the time, Dempsey Spears was paying him to do all of that. And now look at where Dempsey Spears is at. He has I can't remember how many count indictment for fraud. And more than likely he's going to be facing some significant time, So it's a horrible accusation to make. And people have made all types of horrible accusations about me, my wife, and my children over the years. It is what it is. I thought about that a lot too, and I recognize that if I hadn't been critical of Umar, none of that would have transpired. So I have to look at it that way, that it's part of, I guess you can say, the journey through the Umar Johnson saga. So it is what it is. Anyway, thank you, 100 footsie again for the super chat. Thank you to everybody. And then Lewis says, it's the people putting him on that are just as much as fault as he is by legitimizing him. Without these shows, he would be boxing the Hebrew Israelites on the corner for people's attention. If it wasn't for the internet, 90%, 95% of the people who know about Umar wouldn't know about Umar. See, one of the things that if you really look into to Umar in terms of his personality type, he's a recluse. And he actually states that. It's rare that he talks about this, but it's true. Umar is the type of person that if he doesn't have to go outside and deal with the world, he'll stay at home. He likes to sit on the couch, lay on the couch, sleep. That's like when he was in hotel rooms. Oftentimes you would see him sleeping in hotel rooms, and he'll be in the bed laying down live streaming. Okay, part of it is that he's lazy like that. But the other issue is just his personality type. He prefers not to go out. He prefers to be a recluse. He prefers to not engage the world. That's one of the reasons why, in terms of him even working, in the world, he hasn't done that since 2010, 2011. So Umar's talked about this. He likes to stay at home, that if he didn't have to lecture, that he would just be at home, and he likes to watch horror movies. That's what he does. He also likes to watch sports. That's why he wears the attire, the sports attire. That's why he bets on sports games. Donation money for FDMG. So if people really understand Umar Johnson's personality type, you will realize that if it wasn't for the internet, he would not be out there. See, and this year and towards the end of last year, he's been pulling back on the speaking engagements too. But that's part of it. He's burned a lot of bridges too. But see, what happens is you can look at even with Jay Morrison when everything really got bad for him. What did he do? He got off of the internet. He tried to make a comeback more recently, but people were on him right away. Well, Umar's the same way. He took some major hits in 2025. 2026 hasn't been all that gone that great either. It's just part of the Umar Johnson saga. So you can see even in his speaking schedule, yeah, part of it, he's burned a lot of bridges, but also it's just Umar. He realizes, this is weighed heavy on him at this point. Everything that's taking place, including what's taking place with FDMG, he would rather just be at home. And if he can be at home, use the internet to get money for a school that doesn't exist, that's a relatively easy life for Umar. It's not going to change his situation or his circumstance. He's still going to be living in the mama closet, no home, no car, been homeless since 2019. Nothing's going to change for the better, but it's comfortable for Umar. So anyway, getting back to what you're saying right here, a lot of this has to do with the nature of the internet, and the people who have platformed him, they have legitimized him. But have they done that in a grassroots organization? No. How have they done it? They've done that through the internet. Umar has made inroads into the Black conscious space through what? The internet. All right. Thanks, Louis. Okay, I think I got to everyone. Okay, yeah. Let's see. And then when you're doing that Jay Morrison video, you owe us. I know, and there's two that I really want to get into that are really, it's good to dissect just from a critical analysis point. And there was one video where he had disappeared and then he came back, and this was before he sold the Black House, and he did like a town hall. And you should see, actually there's three. There's that one. He does a town hall and they have this whole setup in the Black House. And he actually had a guy there, and the guy was there for the appeal to authority to kind of legitimize Jay Morrison. It's really interesting how they set that up. There's that one. There's also one where I think it was through Zoom that he did, and people were calling in and kind of going in on him, investors and so forth. There's another brother that was kind of spearheading that. I can't remember his name right now, but I covered him in the past. And then more recently, he was interviewed, and I wanted to get into that one too. Yeah, I'll think about it. Maybe we can do like a 3-part series and go through that, like while we're waiting for the next Umar Johnson live stream on Instagram. But see, I like to use that time when I'm not doing these live streams to work on this documentary, because it's a lot of work. And once I get it done, it'll free up so much time. And I got other projects that I have I've tabled for a long time. Anyway, yeah, I'll think about that. There's 3 videos. This is from my own memory. There's the more recently that he did where he's interviewed. He kind of comes out of the shadows, and people hadn't seen him for a long time. By this time, he's sold the Black House. There's the video where he does like a Zoom call, and people were asking him, and I think in that video he was saying he wasn't going to sell the Black House, but he ended up selling the Black House. And then there's that other video where it was like more like I don't want to say a press. It was because it seemed more like, I can't explain what it is, but it was at the Black House. He had this whole thing, and people were asking about where was the money, what he did with the money, and that's where he told people that he had bought some land, but it's in his family's name, and he also bought a house for his family, and all, but again, no dividends to. Anyway, that's the other one. Okay, I'll think about it a little something. Okay, thank you for the super chat as well. Okay, let's get going here. Everyone inside the Cook Ranch chat. I appreciate y'all's patience. Treff, the real estate fraudster. Yeah, it's crazy. They had him on the Breakfast Club too. Yeah. I don't take not being able to make or keep friends too funny. Social awkwardness and rejection hurts. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that too. Umar, he's unable to connect with people, and it's not just people in the world. It's also with people in his own personal life. It's his mother's situation. That's more of an enmeshment issue. But there are people who they just because of social awkwardness, they find it difficult to deal with something. But that's not what the issue was with Umar. Umar's issue is that he feels superior to other people. He has a sense of entitlement. And so the idea or notion that he has to make a way for himself is not something that works inside of his mind. And then that processes inside of his mind. And therefore, in order to really develop relationships and be successful in the real world, you have to actually get out there and deal with people and know how to create bonds with people. That can also be with your own children, for that matter, right? So with Umar, what has happened is that because of the internet, so much has been given to him. I'll propose that a lot of what's been given to him is unwarranted. He doesn't deserve it because he's ungrateful. And so therefore, whatever social awkwardness that he has, it's not a big deal. It's not even something he feels like he has to deal with, because at the end of the day, he can go lecture, he can play the role, he can put on the dashiki, he can turn it on like this. What narcissists do, they turn it on, they get people all excited, but then once it's all over with, he has to return back to his mama's closet and then deal in the muck and mire of his own life. Okay, as opposed to figuring out what he needs to do what he needs to change within himself. And if that means that he has to figure out ways to kind of connect with people or to be able to engage people socially, whatever the case may be, then that's what he needs to do. At the age of 51, he really doesn't have an excuse. Okay, on top of that, people giving him millions of dollars, he has no excuse, right? Now, this assumes that Umar wants to engage people. I don't think he does. This assumes that Umar Johnson wants to create bonds with people. I don't think that he does. This assumes that Umar wants to establish relationships with people. I don't think that he does. I think Umar is a narcissist, and he sees people not as potential individuals to develop relationships with, deserving of human decency and respect. He sees people as resources, nothing more. And if you see people that way, how are you going to develop any type of meaningful relationship? That's why this guy's never been married. He's 51. He's never talked about being in a long-standing relationship with a woman. He called me gay, but he's never been in a long-standing relationship with a woman. He's 51. Well, this has, and it ain't got, let me be clear, this ain't got nothing to do with his sexuality. I'm making a point. This has to do with Umar's inability to establish bonds with people and relationships with people, because he doesn't see people as human beings, deserving of human decency and respect. He sees people as resources, nothing more. You women, when he crushes your cookies, he doesn't see you as a human being that's worthy of decency and respect. No, he sees you as a resource. You donors, he sees you as a resource. He don't give a shit about you or your kids. You can give him your money, that's your money. But don't think and don't live in the delusion and don't live in the fantasy land of Umar Johnson. Don't think for a moment that he cares about you or cares about your kids. He don't even care about his own kids. What kind of man is going to care about your kids, but he don't care about his own kids? See, y'all living in delusion right there. No disrespect. Don't even make sense. Oh, well, he's doing this for the babies. He ain't doing shit. He don't even take care of his own babies. So cut it out. Anyway, let me stop. All right. Let's get going here. Okay, Brian, did I say that? I don't even remember me saying it. It's like the other day. It's like the other day. So I said that I couldn't remember a time where I called Umar a Negro because I don't like using that term. Okay, when I hear that term in my mind, it's not Negro. It's the other one that we know Black people a lot of us use. I don't vocalize it all that much, but I think it in my head. Okay, and I was saying I don't remember me ever calling him a Negro, and I don't think I ever have. Okay, but someone made mention, but you did call him the other version because back in the day I used to give myself 2 or 3 allocations per year to use that word. But what would happen is I would use it once on a live stream, and I'd use it again, and I run through the whole allotment for the year. Okay. Anyway, to the best of my knowledge and the best of my memory, I've never called Umar a Negro. All right. I did call him some other things. All right. Okay, let's get going. Someone had asked, Lenon, who's worse, Jay Morrison or Umar? I think Umar's worse, but Jay Morrison has gotten a lot more money than Umar. See, again, my best estimate, Umar has to be around $3 million at this point. Jay Morrison got upwards to 11, 12 million. But on top of that, all the other, because see, people like that, it's not just one scam. It's all types of scams that they're running on people, but specifically for the TREF fund. It was something around 11 million that was raised for that fund. But then there's other stuff that I'm sure he was doing where he's getting money out of people and not fulfilling his obligations, because that's what scammers do. Polite used to do the same thing. So I think financially, I think Jay Morrison is worse, but in terms of a totality, I think Umar is worse because it's not just sexual financial exploitation, it's sexual exploitation. And then all of the misinformation that Umar Johnson has delivered to Black parents about their children, extremely dangerous. Even more significant, in my opinion, than the millions of dollars that Umar Johnson has raised is that right there. It's impacted children's lives in a negative way. Meanwhile, he don't take care of his own kids. I'm leaving right there. Okay, let's get back to it. Thank you guys again for tuning on. There is a poll question. When y'all get a chance, if you can vote on that. All right, let's go. Okay, we're gonna get into it now, Joshua. So here we go.
Pan Africanism, certified school psychology, Tennessee. I'm in the building.
Okay, Umar's not a certified school psychologist. He holds no current certifications. He's never been licensed. He's not a therapist either. He's not a school psychologist. He hasn't worked since 2010, 2011, with the exception of 2014, I believe it was, where he worked for a couple of months as a principal. Anyway.
What's up? This is the Chabati podcast where we get real, raw, authentic conversations. I'm your host.
Okay, let me give you real quick. Let me this young man, again, the camera situation, this is not how it should be done. It's better that if you only have 2 cameras, have one that's close up on Umar and then one that shows both of you, but it's cropped in the way to where in the one that shows both of you, you guys are on the screen in equal pairs, if that makes sense. So you're here, he's here. Okay, and then the second camera should be up close on Umar's, like where I'm like this. Okay, just give me some things. And then the other thing is same thing on this side of here. It's like they're in a corner, but there should be a plant or the table or something over there. You can see that light socket. Don't show light sockets if you can help it. Have like a plant there too that goes up the wall, something to that effect, or a desk with some ornaments on it, something to that effect. There's some things for you to think about, okay, as you grow your platform. Here we go.
Host T, and to the right of me, we got the good brother.
Glad to be here, brother T. Chop by T podcast, Tennessee. Dr. Umar's in the building. One love. Shout out to all my FDMG donors. Shout out to all my ride or die Ifa Tunde acts.
Yes, sir. The legend.
What does he mean? Ifa Tunde what? Anyone understand what that means?
Get into the show, my questions, anything. I want to tell you, I want to say thank you. Not just for coming on the show, but honestly, I'll say this in my honest opinion, you changed the course of my son's life. And
praise God.
I explained to you how you did.
Praise God. What you talk? Oh, here he go. The other thing is color correction is important. You want to make sure that the color correction matches for each camera. Okay, there's things that you can do with that. Well, I can give you got to balance it based upon, what's it called? I can't even think of the term right now, but there's this thing you open up, you put it in the camera and it has a white lines on it and your camera will identify those white lines as the white balance or something to that effect. I can't remember the term right now. And you do that for each camera. That helps with color correction, but then also post inside of your video editing software, you can make adjustments too. Right? Anyway.
Done that. He's 7 years old now. He's in the first grade.
Yes, sir.
When he was in kindergarten, I started noticing the teachers, they would do these things, right, where it was red flags. And the only reason I was able to identify these red flags is because of the education that you gave me.
Yes, sir.
In my time of studying you, it would be things like intervention or he can't be still in class, these types of things, right? And I started noticing these things, and I noticed the red flags, but also because of you, I had the right language for it. I was able to communicate like, oh, this should be this, and I asked for these meetings and things like that. So you ultimately changed the course of his life. Honestly, because without you, I wouldn't have known these things.
God bless. I'm glad to hear you're doing well.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And as we said before we started taping, since I've never spoken in Murfreesboro, I want you to find a space where I can come and do a free Black Parent Know Your School Rights seminar for free.
Absolutely.
Okay, and this is another thing that Umar Johnson does consistently. I'm still trying to figure out why it is that he does this. But he's always asking people to do things that he should do for himself, even though he takes these grandiose titles like Prince of Pan African, the most requested scholar, the most requested, all this other stuff, the Prince of the Prophet of Pan Africanism. He got all these titles. I found 2 more today. There's something about Umar's psychology where I think it may even be the entitlement and the narcissism where he expects other people to do things for him that he should be doing for himself. And sometimes in this case, he wants people to find him a venue. But if you are the most requested scholar, you shouldn't have a problem with people should be calling you. You shouldn't be trying to call people to do stuff. And he always asking people to do stuff for him. But I also think that part of it is that Umar, he just does not, inside of his mind, it doesn't work in a way to where he knows how to get things done from point A to point Z. And then the other thing is the narcissism, the sense of entitlement. I think part of it is he feels as if to have to figure these things out is beneath him. But because he has resources, or he sees human beings as resources, he can figure out ways to get other human beings to do things for him that he should do for himself. He'll get on a live stream. He says, listen, if you guys know of a restaurant and I'm in Chicago, if you know of a restaurant in my area, let me know. No, why don't you just get on Google and type it in yourself? Part of it, I think, is laziness, but I also think part of it is just the way that his mind works. He's not the kind of person that he has, and I'm talking about realistic ambition to get things done. Okay. Fantasyland shit, he can come up with that any time of the day. But I'm talking about just everyday average things that people should know how to do at the age of 51 or at the age of 40, at the age of 30, at the age of 25. He does not know how to do. And because of the narcissism, he feels like people are inferior to him, people are less than him. They should do it on his behalf. I'm still trying to figure this out, man, with Umar. But this is another example of it right here.
Absolutely.
So check with the churches, if there's any Black event centers.
See this? Now he's saying check with the churches, but he disparages the Black church all the time.
We probably could do a community center, but you got to be careful with them because you don't want the haters to start calling up there trying to get it canceled because they do that a lot. Those are YouTubian struggle streamers.
Yeah, Umar, in my opinion, he's dealing with some withdrawals right now. You see him scratching and itching. Hit the one if you saw it.
They can be something else, but I'm coming to Murfreesboro. I'm just going to say that. So y'all get ready. My first time speaking in Murfreesboro. I'm looking forward to it. I've been to Memphis plenty of times, Nashville a couple times.
Back-to-back Memphis. We got 900 people in the building. Y'all hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. Let's go.
Knoxville a couple times, Chattanooga a couple times. I never spoke in Murfreesboro.
Absolutely. And I would love to have you here, and I love to host it as well.
Sir.
So I'll definitely get that in order for you. But speaking of education, you said something interesting that I seen on one of your podcasts or one of the interviews you had where you talked about the Rockefellers.
Yes.
And the Board of Education.
Yes.
Okay, he's going to get into conspiracy theories. Okay,
why would somebody that's interested in oil even be considering education or involve themselves in education?
Great question. The reason the Rockefeller family got involved in education is to protect their financial interests. Now, some people would say, why does controlling public education have anything to do with a corporate empire?
Right.
It's because I want my corporate empire to last for generations. I want my grandchildren's grandchildren to be able to eat off of Standard Oil, which is Rockefeller's foundational company. Right. In order for my grandchildren's grandchildren to eat off Standard Oil, we can't have any competition. And if we teach America's public school children about the oil business, That's going to generate competition because wherever there's education, there's interest. You're going to start getting students coming up with ideas as to what they can do in the oil industry.
Right.
And the next thing you know, not only are they competing with you in the oil industry, they're innovating in the oil industry. So to make sure we can protect our corporate dynasty, the Rockefeller brand and the Rockefeller pocketbook, we're going to create our own Rockefeller General Board of Education.
Okay.
And we're going to use this General Board of Education to finance school districts, personnel on school boards, textbook publishing companies, to make sure none of the curricular subjects or content involves investing in oil. And so the Rockefellers went around financing education.
Well, wait a minute, though. It's not as if it's not specific to oil, though. Most people aren't taught in even in high school about investing. I'm talking about to any significant degree. So I think what Umar, because the nature of the question, the podcast host is asking specifically about the Rockefellers. Umar goes to oil, and that the reason why they're in control of the public education system is because they don't want people investing in oil. They don't want people to know about the investments in oil. But it's across the board. In general, the public school isn't designed to teach people how to invest in anything. Okay, and you can take classes. Okay, my kids, they've done that. Right, your parents can teach you certain things, you know. But it's not as if investing is something that is taught overwhelmingly as like a primary course, you know, from grade school through high school. That's just not the case. And even more specifically, I think Umar, he's specifically focusing on the oil because it's tied to the Rockefellers. Anyway.
But making sure that education stayed away from anything that had to do with international investing.
Okay. Anyway, Umar, you just run your mouth. I didn't learn much about investing until I got in college. Yeah, that's not uncommon.
And that's crazy because I actually heard this from you for the first time, that Spelman College is actually named after Rockefeller's wife.
Yes. Spelman College began, if memory serves me correctly, as an all-black female institution. It was all black, but they were struggling financially, and Rockefeller came along. And I don't know if the all-black female school decided to name it after his wife because of the size of the financial donation, or if that was a requirement in order to receive his funds. So yes, Spelman is named after Rockefeller's wife.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I want to ask you, because you actually just made me think of something. Why are economics not taught in school?
To keep the people dumb. The purpose of public education is to make sure you have a better educated, low-wage earner.
Okay.
Okay, real quick. Yeah, it's. I just looked this up, and it's true. Spelman College is named after Laura Spelman Rockefeller. I did not know that. Yep. All right.
The purpose of public education is to make sure you can go into the factory, I can go in the factory, read, write, and count.
Yeah, but this is someone who doesn't even have a job. It hasn't worked consistently since 2006. 20 years.
That's it. A better educated, low-wage earner.
Yeah, Umar, you're a no-wage earner. So what are you talking about? Listen, and plenty of us went to public school, and we're not low-wage earners. Okay, we may have been. Okay. Yeah, I'm guilty, but you know, come on. Anyway.
And it was actually a compromise between the government and corporate America, because what corporate America was saying was,
no, Sequoia, this is Umar just hotep philosophizing on the spot. See, he ain't working at anyone's factory. Here we go.
We want to keep our corporations in America. But you have to bring us people who can at least read, write, and count.
Right.
If they can't do that, they're going to cost us too much collateral damage training and teaching them how to operate.
Right.
We need them to come into work.
What is Umar talking about? TJ believes him. He said Umar is actually correct with this one. All right. It don't make no sense to me. It doesn't. Okay. Here we go.
Already knowing how to read, write, and count. And that was the birth of public education.
If you're listening right now or watching right now, then it means you're amazing. And because you're amazing, I want to give you my phone number.
No, you don't want to give them nobody. Let me skip through this part. Here we go.
Not broad enough to provide for the academic needs of America's uneducated white children. That's when the government stepped in and said, we have to do this, and we have to do this for a couple of reasons. Not only do the corporations need a better educated low-wage earner, we need to be able to screen who the future leaders of America will be. So public education actually became the source of new elites. It was the source because your company cannot survive unless you got fresh minds.
Yeah, but which one is it? Are you saying that it's low-wage earners or it's the elite? Both are being produced? That's what I was basically saying earlier. But based upon this conspiracy, it's supposed to produce low-wage earners who can read and write, but aren't a threat to the Rockefeller institution, if you will. But now he's saying that this is designed to be able to, I guess, figure out which children are who can be elite. Let me just be clear about something. There are programs where they're looking for gifted children in different areas. I get that. But the other thing is that a lot of how wealth is transferred ain't got much to do with any of that. It has a lot to do with what family you're raised in and what you're born into in the first place. And then whatever money is available, whatever wealth is available, being utilized by your parents in such a way to put you in an advantaged position. That could even be private school. Okay, so is private school part of this whole conspiracy theory too? Which one is it? All right. Yeah, he is. He's on both sides. Okay. Okay, real quick. Let me get caught up inside of the with super chat. There was someone who was complaining about this earlier. Let me just tell you that this is how I run my show. It's not just about Umar. If you want to watch these clips just to watch Umar by yourself and watch everything straight through without me running my mouth or without me reading super chats or without me engaging the chat room or pausing every 5 seconds, just go check it out on YouTube or on Umar Johnson's Instagram page in some cases. I run my show the way that I run my show, and it's been relatively successful, and I'm appreciative for everyone who shows up. Okay, are we still live streaming? Okay. Okay, so real quick, let me get caught up inside of this chat room real quick. I texted with this caster today. Shake my head. He's okay. Yeah. So you communicated with him. Okay. Yeah. He gave out his phone number. He shouldn't do that though. He really shouldn't, because you never know who's going to be contacting you, and it gets crazy. Thanks, Enterprise. TJ says, "Is this a minstrel video stuff written in crayon?" Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm not quite sure about the. Again, he needs to. I don't know how to say this. He just needs to reassess his setup. That picture definitely needs to be taken down, and then the podcast logo there, that should be posted on the wall, and he can just, that wouldn't be difficult to do. And anyway, there's just some things. I think he's just getting into it, but over time he can build this up. Okay. Thank you, TJ. Shared my videos in facts with him. He blocked me. Okay, yeah, but that's going to happen. Again, he's had Umar on. So again, he stated that Umar, based upon some information that he got from Umar, listening to Umar, it helped him to make a decision about his son. There was a benefit to his son. Okay, well, that's great. So there's already going to be that. Okay. What I'll propose is that there are things that parents should figure out themselves, and parents should learn for themselves. And you need Umar, because a lot of what Umar says is misinformation. He will say some things that are truthful, but don't take all of it, because most of what he says is misinformation. Okay, but as a parent, you should do your due diligence anyway, so you don't need someone like Umar. But if Umar benefited you, that's great. But what happens is that when people believe that Umar benefited them in a particular way, or their children in a particular way, they don't want to hear anything from anybody else about criticizing Umar, because they look at Umar in a particular way. That's why he platformed it in the first place. Thanks, Enterprise. TJ says, powerful king. Yeah, that's what Umar says. Okay, thank you, TJ. Miss Honey says, for free, that man better be careful. Oh yeah, that's what Umar was saying. But the thing is, Miss Honey, that Umar a lot of his speaking engagements he does for free, but it's not that he doesn't get anything from it. Okay, he gets room and board in many cases. He gets access to more women to sexually exploit. It also gets put him in a position to ask for more donations for a school. People are going to be more inclined to donate if you're in front of them, right, at a venue, tell them things that they want to hear, right? And then also one of the big things that we don't really talk a lot about with Umar is a lot of this is ego driven. So any praise or adoration that he can receive, it feeds his ego. So if that means that they're not going to pay him, or they'll pay him minimally, like $100 or $200, he's going to do it because it fulfills these other needs, including the need to feel validated. That's one of the biggest Umar's biggest issues is he always has to feel validated. A very insecure individual. Okay? So yeah, he'll do it for free, right? Thanks, Miss Honey. Lil Sex says Umar probably sent him an invoice after the guy thanked him. I'm trying to open the school, brother. I can't give free game. You understand? Yeah, he said, I'm gonna do this for free, but I'm gonna send you an invoice because I need this money for this school. Yeah. But the other thing too is I think that and I'm not saying that this is the case with this individual. Umar, if he can find people who really believe in him, he'll do, I'm sure, and get on their podcast. I'm sure he'll do it for free. I mean, the guy may have paid him, okay, but if he knows that they're really rocking with him, I'm sure he would do it for free just for the praise and adoration. But then also he can come up on the back end and ask for money. Say, hey, listen, I'm opening up the school. I did this for you for free. Are you willing to donate for the school for Black boys? I can see Umar doing that. And I'm not saying that he did with the situation because he may have been paid, but I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Okay. Thanks, Louis. Jam Jack says, ask about a restaurant or a queen for a meal. Okay. All right. All right. Thanks, Jam Jack. Shout out to Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, too, by the way. May Brown says Umar is spreading an urban legend about Rockefeller. Yeah, he is. He's really he's taking it over the top. Okay, but if the brother didn't ask him this question, Umar wouldn't even gone in this direction. But that's what Umar does, and he'll come up with whatever he can come up with to keep it going. Thanks, May Brown. TJ agreed with Umar on this one. Okay, thank you, TJ, for super chat. I got this one earlier. Daxter says, "Man, y'all kicking some history, huh?" All right, Daxter. Okay. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Brian says Umar is becoming built like Roland Martin. Umar is becoming built like Roland Martin, his arch nemesis. Yeah. I know they don't like each other. They haven't liked each other for many years now. Yeah. Is Roland Martin Umar's arch nemesis? Hit the 1 if he is. Hit the 2 if he's not. Okay. I never really watched Roland Martin. I haven't watched Roland Martin, to be honest with you. I didn't even know who he was until he interviewed Umar. And real talk, I didn't like how he did that interview and how they ambushed Umar like that. The first part, the first maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes was cool. Maybe 5, maybe 6 minutes was cool. But then Roland Martin had all these other people on there and they were going at, well, I didn't like that. Okay. Someone said it's you. Someone said it's Tariq. It might be Tariq. Yeah, that's true. Nobody triggered Umar like Seti. Yeah, it could be Seti. We might have to do a poll on this one. That's somebody that says it's Lenon. Nah, I don't think so. Bougie says the chat's out. Yeah, chat room's out of control. All right. All right. Someone remind me later on. I'll put a poll question up. Someone said road to Mario. What's up, Black Mario? Hey, Condiment, how you doing? Simply Complicated is here as well. And Domo's in the building as well. So don't call him Roland. What's up, Spurs Bet? Yeah, someone remind me later. I'll put up a poll. We'll see who's Umar Johnson's arch nemesis. We'll do a poll on that one. Someone said it's child support. That's Umar Johnson's nemesis is child support and a job. Okay. How's it going, Chastity? Okay. Yeah, Laura. Someone remind me later. I'll do one a little bit later on. Okay. Yeah. What's up, Jimmy Jamboree? Was it you? Somebody. Yeah, the IRS. That's another one. Child support. Child support. IRS. Somebody's a job. What's up, Everpunk? A job. Mold. Okay. Oh man. Yeah, I know how the girl. The kicker chest undefeated. Yeah, cleanliness is yeah, bills in general. a broom queen mother. Yeah. Accountability. Yeah. Okay. Boy, this is crazy. Uncle Nancy is his nemesis. Okay, let me get out of here. Glucose level. I don't even know what that means. Struggle streamers. Plywood. What's up, Swagolito? What's up, Swagolito? Big back TVs. Popeyes. You guys, this is why we don't never get nothing done. Little Debbie's, smart black women, black contractors. Yeah, snow bunnies as well. Okay, let me get out of here. Yeah, that's true. What's up, HP? Shampoo. Okay, yeah, inspectors today. Yeah, these days it's the inspectors. For a while it was the floor tiles. All right, let me get out of here. Smurfs. Man, this chat room is the best. Somebody said Smurfs. Oh, oh man. Oh, okay. Let me a pedicure, blonde weave, being debanked, line up. Yeah, opening dates for sure. All right, let me get up out of here. Let me get out of here. All right. Yeah, last week it was Jamaicans, okay? Okay. All right. Okay, let's get back to it, everybody. This is crazy. Here we go.
Right. So as the white elites age, who's going to replace a Thomas Jefferson? Who's going to replace an Alexander Hamilton, a Benjamin Franklin?
What are you talking about? Now, first we was talking about the Rockefellers. Now you talking about Benjamin Banneker and who the guy that sung Tutti Frutti, whatever.
Right. Who's going to replace a Donald Trump?
He's all over the place. Who's going to replace a Donald Trump? Who's going to replace a little Richard? Come on, Umar, stop.
Barack Obama, a Joe Biden, a Bill Clinton,
a Joe Budden. Come on.
And so forth and so on. So public education is the place where intellectual minds are found.
Yeah, little Richard.
And then
I was listening to Little Richard last week. I kid you not. Tutti Frutti. I was listening to the car, going to work. Well, I didn't want to go to work that day. You ever feel like that? I said, let me go and put on some Little Richard. Oh, I said, yeah. I came to work. I was strutting to that. Yeah, let me listen to Little Richard again. You got to put on some Little Richard to get going. All right, here we go.
Sent to the elites to be trained.
Wow.
Whether that's Wall Street, whether
here he go. The Foreign Council of Foreign Relations, the what was that? The Rhodes Scholar. What?
That's government, whether that's the Bilderbergs, the Rockefellers, the CFR, you find the best black
CFR, Council on Foreign Relations,
and white minds, and you send them out. To give you an example, and this is no disrespect to Howard University because I love all of our HBCUs, and I believe my ancestor Frederick Douglass, who's my 4 times great-grand cousin, he was once
he's still lying about that. That's crazy.
A trustee at Howard University, if memory serves me correctly. But to give you an example of what I'm speaking to here, Howard University, Thomas Jefferson, who's going to replace an Alexander Hamilton, a Benjamin Franklin, right? Who's going to replace a Donald Trump, a Barack Obama, a Joe Biden, a Bill Clinton, so forth and so on. So public education is the place where intellectual minds
he's just making stuff up.
are found and then sent to
Yeah,
the
yeah, see him. Yeah, see him. The core. He's a great grand cousin. He's all over the place.
elites to be trained.
Wow.
Whether that's Wall Street, whether that's government, whether that's the Bilderbergs, the Rockefellers, the CFR, you find the best black and white minds and you send them out. To give you an example, and this is no disrespect to Howard University because I love all of our HBCUs, and I believe my ancestor, Frederick Douglass, who's my 4 times great-grand cousin, he was once a trustee at Howard University, if memory serves me correctly. But to give you an example of what I'm speaking to here, Howard University, which is the mecca of
Yeah, he was a trustee at Howard University, serving on the board of trustees for nearly a quarter of a century, from 1871 until his death in 1895. That's true, but the part that's a lie is that you're related to Frederick Douglass. You're not. Your daddy took a DNA test, and it came back that you guys are not related. But again, like I said, Umar will tell some truths, but he lies too, and he knows this too by now. I think his daddy came out in 2018. I believe that's when it was. I thought it was later, but I think it was in 2018 that his daddy came out and admitted that they weren't related. And his daddy's the one that lied to Umar about being related to Frederick Douglass. And he was told that when he was 11 years old in 1985. Isn't that interesting? But if we go to 2000, I want to say 2018. No, it couldn't have been 2018. It has to be 2019. Yeah, it's not populating here. Yeah, I'll pull it up in just a moment. Again, Umar, he'll say some things that are true, but then you got to be careful because a lot of what he says is a lie. Here it is right here. I think this is it. Let me see the date too. Yeah, it's 2018. Okay, June 25th of 2018. Please read. It says, you know that social media can be a curse and a blessing. Recently, I obtained and posted my DNA results here, and I do encourage others to take the test. This is Jamal Johnson, Umar Johnson's father. Just don't think you'll know what the results will be. Just based on the test alone, it appears that I am not related to the late, great Frederick Douglass, as I've been led to believe all my life and have taught to my children. Additionally, it opens up the door for so many other questions related to my family lineage. I am hoping that the results are in error, but it does not appear to be so. Listen, this DNA, okay? It's not about being in error. You're not related. That's okay. As a result, I at least accept them as valid and as such acknowledge that according to the results, I and my children, including Umar, okay, he has 9 children, I believe, altogether. Is it 9? Yeah, 9. Yeah, because altogether it's 11. And yeah, 11. Yep. He has 9. I and my children are not, at least 9. I and my children are not related to the Frederick Douglass lineage. How could this have happened? I have no idea. I only know that I will continue to ascertain this, and if it should be in fault, make that known also. Okay, again, this is him hedging his bets because he didn't want to admit the truth. Umar's the same way. Needless to say, this shakes me to my core, but it is what it is. I have shared this info with some of my family and will continue to contact others. I am announcing it publicly because I think it's only right to do so. It may mean a lot to some and nothing to others, but it is the truth according to Ancestry.com DNA results. Okay, this was in 2018. Umar is still saying that he's related to Frederick Douglass in 2026. And Umar knows about these DNA results. His father did a video too. He took the video down. I don't have a copy of it. If anyone has a copy of that video and you get it to me, I'll cash app you or PayPal you $100, $150. I don't have the video, but that's a screenshot of his Facebook page, Jamal Johnson's Facebook page. He's took all of his social media down last year after Umar Johnson's daughter came out and exposed Umar as a deadbeat. And Jamal Johnson was attempting to silence her, okay, but it didn't work. Okay, he ended up taking all of his social media down. Anyway, Umar's still running with the lie in April of 2026. All right, here we go.
It is the #1 recruiting ground for the FBI.
Oh, wow.
More black FBI agents come from Howard University and HBCU than any other school in America, black or white.
Wow.
So when
more come from there, but these are traditionally all black colleges, right? So the data is going to be skewed because most overwhelmingly, the people who attend these historically black colleges are black. So what are you talking about? Y'all see my point? Let me. He said the FBI. Did he say the FBI right? The FBI, excuse me, the FBI recruits individuals with at least 2 or 3 years of professional work experience in specializing fields. The more specific, FBI does not recruit from any specific university or location. Instead, recruits come from a vast array of professional and educational backgrounds across the United States. Let me just look up one other thing. I always like to fact check Umar, even if it's on the spot. So the FBI do recruit from historically black colleges and universities, though through several dedicated initiatives designed to increase diversity within its ranks. But it doesn't say anything about that overwhelmingly it's from these colleges. I think Umar's trying to make it seem that way. Okay, but it doesn't make sense. They're recruiting from colleges all over the place. It's not specifically from, it doesn't even make sense because there's not a lot of black universities, right? Let me see real quick. How many? Yeah, this is Umar, he's just making this up. So there are 107 historically black colleges and universities in the United States, including public, private, 4-year and 2-year institutions. These institutions are primarily located in 19 states. All right, let's keep going.
I tell you, education is the place where they find the new faces. That's exactly what it is.
Why is that? I wonder. Why would that be a source?
There's no other better way of recruiting raw, new, unsigned talent. Because think about it, everybody doesn't have to go into the military.
Right.
Everybody don't go to church. But if we make public education compulsory, we're going to make you go to school. Every state has a law that you must attend school unless you're being homeschooled, right?
Right.
Based on provided research, there is no specific publicly available statistic detailing the percentage of black FBI agents who graduated from historically black colleges and universities. Umar making this up. The data indicates that African-American employees constitute 11.3% of the FBI workforce, but only 4.6% of special agents were African-American as of 2019, with efforts underway to increase this diversity. Yeah, Umar's quoting statistics that don't even exist.
So we're going to make it compulsory so every child goes to public education and the best minds are automatically sent to us. And with Rockefeller, with their General Board of Education, they actually had a head start on this because we're funding the schools. So if they find any great minds, black or white,
they can pull them in.
They're gonna send them to us. Yep. And that's how that started. And then that kind of dovetailed off into the black Masonics and the white Masonics, the Divine Nine as well, because all these secret societies.
Yeah, I told you he was gonna get into conspiracy theories.
Started becoming a pipeline.
Yeah, this reminds me of a book, because when I was in conspiracy theories, there was a book. It was one of the books where my wife and I decided to homeschool our children, but it dealt with compulsory education, right? So I'm familiar with some of what Umar is talking about, but he's quoting statistics that don't exist, all right?
To the power structure. Now, we know the Divine Nine was created to give our people an alternative, right? And they were also founded to almost be like a secret society that would advocate for black excellence and black empowerment.
Yes.
But as you can see, through the generations, some of our Divine Nine, the chapters, have lost their focus, where we're really not using the Divine Nine as much as we used to find and to foment and to push black excellence. I think we have to get back to some of the foundational reasons as to why those great ancestors built those great fraternities and sororities.
Yeah. So the book I was talking about is Dumbing Us Down: The Hidden Curriculum of Compulsory Schooling. It was by John Taylor Gatto. Yeah, I had that book. I read through. My wife read through it too. Anyway, but that's when I was in conspiracy theories, going back. I don't know, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I've personally, by me being a Sigma, I've seen some of, because I have brothers who are Masons as well. So I've seen like mirror of different things.
Yes, sir. And the challenge of the Black Masonics, and I don't have an issue with the Black Masons because many of my Pan Africanist.
Yeah, we've got 980 people in the building. If you're enjoying the show, can y'all hit that like button? I appreciate it if you're enjoying the show. If you're not, that's fine.
Forefathers were Black Masons. Major Dr. Martin Robinson Delaney from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, where I actually went to high school. That's where he spent his childhood.
So he always has to connect himself to historical events, historical figures. This is about validation. Umar has to be validated. I'll talk about this in the documentary as well.
After his mother had to run away from Charlestown, West Virginia, they were going to try to unalive them for teaching their children how to read.
Oh, wow.
So they had to come from West Virginia to Chambersburg to live. And he was the first Black officer commissioned by Abraham Lincoln himself in the Civil War. He was one of the first Black newspaper publishers. He co-published the North Star with the Honorable Frederick Douglass. He was one of the first Black men to be nominated by a major party at that time to run for vice president of the United States. What else? He was an inventor.
What is he talking about? I'm sorry. Oh no, Wimbiana is in concussion protocol. Oh no, he had a hard fall. Man, I just saw that come up on the thing.
He was one of the first Africans to go to Africa to get land to take African people back, because he never felt we would be treated as equal in this country, and clearly his prophecy has been correct. But he was a Mason.
Right.
He was a Mason. And again, back then, we used our secret societies to build Black excellence beyond the supervision of the white power structure. We got to get back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And okay, so if we know that these institutions were created as a way of basically just outsourcing and getting Black.
Oh man, it's bad too, y'all. He looked like he was knocked out. Yeah, it's bad. He hit that floor hard too. Anyway, because I watched the Laker game the other day and 2 games yesterday. I didn't watch all of them, but I watched enough of them because it was good games at the end. The New York game and the Nuggets. Yeah, he was dazed. Hopefully it's not a concussion. They're getting back soon, but it was a hard fall. Okay.
People personally, what's the point in even getting an education? Because I know you're very educated. I myself, I have an MBA. So what's the purpose in even getting an education in America?
If your education,
you're good for this, but he got MBA.
Is not.
I was thinking about getting one too myself. The NBA. I was gonna give me an NBA team.
For the weaponization of your knowledge, skill set, and credential for the benefit of African people, then your education is automatically by default weaponized against your people.
Yeah, it was a hard fall. They just showed it in slow motion. It's bad because his face hit. Yeah, it's bad. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Gotcha.
There is no neutral.
Looked like he was knocked out for like 2 seconds.
One of the things we have to get away from in Black America is this idea that I'm neutral on a topic. I'll give you an example, and I know we'll get to this later, so I don't want to get off topic. The Snow Bunny crisis. You'll get some Black people who will say, I'm neutral. People can date who they want. I'm not going to be against you if you date Black on Black.
Yeah, let me be clear about something, because I've been thinking about this, because I'm starting to get into the cult aspect of this Umar Johnson saga. Because by 2012, he starts to give himself these grandiose titles. And that's part of him in his own mind creating. It's almost like he's creating a figure of himself that is greater than your average human being. And this gets into how cult leaders think. So I have a sense that it was around that time, even though even his resignation letter, there was some elements there that I could kind of pinpoint. But by 2000, the resignation letter was in 2005. UNIA resignation was in 2005. But by 2012, you start to see Umar giving himself these self-appointed titles. And it's about the narcissism. It's about the need to feel validated, but it's also to promote himself as superior to other people. Let me pull up this document from the documentary. Give me 1 second here. Let's see, Prince of... Okay, so from my research, he first started referring to himself as a Prince of Pan Africanism October 31st of 2012. But some of the titles that he gave himself in 2012, the number one most requested professor, the Prince of Political/Military Science, the Prophet of Pan Africanism. You see how it starts to get into the cult aspect of this? The Prince of Political/Military Science, and the Prince of Pan Africanism. I found some more too from 2013 that I'll be adding to this list. But this is important because I have a sense that it was around this time that he really started to think of himself like on this. He always had it though, but I think in his own mind, in terms of validating it with titles, it was in and around 2013. And this cult dynamic, part of the cult dynamic is wherein you set up a situation wherein you give these rules and regulations to the people who follow you. And one of the things, because I've been trying to figure this out with Umar, why is he so much about this interracial thing? It's like he doesn't want Black people to have the right to date whoever they want to or marry whoever they want to. Well, I think that this is part of the cult dynamic, and it's part of Umar's narcissism, where he feels superior, wherein he can dictate to his followers what they should be doing. So who is Umar to tell someone else that they shouldn't be dating someone of a quote unquote different race, unless he feels as if he's superior to other people, he can dictate that to someone? You guys see my point? So I have a sense that with Umar, a lot of his rhetoric about snow bunnies is tied to that, but I also think that there's a part of it where that's really what he desires. He desires a white woman. That's what he wants. Okay. It doesn't mean that he doesn't desire, it doesn't mean that he does not desire Black women. I'm just saying that secretly that's what he wants, but he's painted himself into a corner with all this blackity black talk to wherein he can't have that. So that's why it's always something he goes back to. Furthermore, it brings a lot of attention. It's antiquated rhetoric anyway, because people, whoever you are, Black, white, Asian, whatever you want to call yourself, you can date whoever you want to, you can marry whoever you want to. You're free to do that. We're not enslaved, we're not slaves anymore, if people haven't recognized that quite yet. Black people, you can do what the fuck you want to. Don't let this goofy who's not committed to a Black woman, who has at least 3 baby mamas, a 4th baby in Philadelphia alone, and a 4th baby mama tried to put him on child support that was unsuccessful, and it's out here running through these Black women with reckless abandon, with the bumpity bump on his lip, running through you all around the world, hasn't married not one of y'all, ain't committed to not one of y'all, and yet he's going to dictate to you who you guys can date or marry. So you have to think of yourself as some sort of a superior being, and that's what cult leaders, they think like that they're better than everyone else. That's why they think that they can dictate. See, slave masters believe that they were superior to their slaves. That's why they felt as if they can dictate to them what they should be doing, how they should be doing it, so forth and so on. Well, Umar does the same shit, except it's 2026. See, some of y'all who be following around Umar's rhetoric, y'all, give us free, give us, y'all, that's what y'all need to be doing. Umar, give us free, give us free. No, he don't want to give you no freedom. The other thing about these cult dynamics is that they often set up rules and regulations for their followers that they don't abide to themselves, or they will abide to for a while, but then when they're ready to flip it, they'll flip it, but y'all still got to do it. As an example, y'all should be watching sports. Y'all shouldn't be getting this sports paraphernalia, as Umar says, because that's the white man. Meanwhile, he wears it all the time. He's a sports fan. He liked football, but he really liked NBA. I would really listen. Umar says some stupid shit about the NBA because one time he said, who was the basketball player? Rasheed Wallace was the greatest power forward of all time. This is what Umar said. I said, you big goofy. I would love, listen, Umar, when you ready to debate me on that, let's go. We ain't got to even bring up FDMG. Just come on, we just going to talk about that because you don't know what you're talking about. But because he's from Philly, right? Rasheed Wallace from Philly, allegedly, that's what Umar say. All of a sudden, he's the greatest power forward of all time. But the point I'm making is Umar, he loves sports. He gambles on sports. He gambles in general with donation money. But he tells his followers, y'all shouldn't partake in any of that, right? Well, that's what cult leaders do. So now that I'm into 2013, I'm already starting to see it's becoming more and more clear. And so that by the time we get to 2014 and he posts that code compound for the FDMG school in the shape of Africa, with a man-made lake around it, with aircraft bays and a landing bay, a sports facility, 2 schools, a hospital, and all this other. That's where it really gets out of control. Anyway, he said, "You can't date any snow bunnies. Leave them to me." He's. I would say he's in the top 35. I wouldn't say 75. I would say he's in the top 35. He's at the end of the top of he's in the top 75. Well, maybe you're saying the top 75 all-time players. Yeah, I would agree with that. But if you're saying top 75 power forwards, he has to be in the top 30. Okay. What's up, guys? Little princess. He wasn't a top 75 player for sure. I mean, I can come up with 5 just off the top of my head. Basketball power forwards that was better than Rasheed Wallace, Tim Duncan, okay, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Giannis, and what's the guy's name? It's just in my mind. Old guy. He's not old, but Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett was one of my favorite basketball players back in the day. That's 5 just right there. But I could probably come up with another 10 easily. Okay. Akeem was a center, though. I would put Akeem, he's in the top 10, top 10 centers. I would probably put him at maybe 5, maybe 6. Anyway, let's get back to it. Here we go. Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki is another one. But Umar, he just, Kevin McHale's another one. Okay. Yeah, Paul Gasol. Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, KG, that was my dude back in the day. Anyway, here we go.
I'm not going to be against you if you date black on pink, right?
Right.
You can't be neutral.
Yeah, he did, but he's classified mainly as a power forward. Yeah, you're right, though, Estevares.
Because if we continue to keep on making babies with non-African women,
Brad Daugherty, Chris Boss, yeah. I mean, it could be argued. Yeah, you're right, but I think there could be an argument made that they're around the same. Stoudemire too. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, I forgot about Stoudemire. Yeah. Here you go.
There will not be enough American Africans left in this country to fight for reparations, fight for justice, run the HBCUs, run the black community organizations, or anything else. Okay, in 25 years, if we keep on.
Now that's debatable right there. Okay, but I like Zach Randolph, but that's debatable right there. Yeah, Dirk for sure. Yeah, I forgot Chris Webber. Yeah, for sure, Chris Webber. Yeah, I wish Chris Webber won a championship so bad. I feel so bad for him.
On with this self-hating interracial dating we're doing, most
Draymond, triple single. Okay.
black people in America will be mixed race, and they will not primarily identify as black. You see that?
I see it.
So what's going to happen?
Yeah, Dennis Rodman too. I mean, again, not much offense, but in terms of defensive rebounding, okay, I mean, this guy he's incredible. Incredible. Yeah, Sean Kemp, too. He's one of my favorite. Yeah, Derek Coleman. Yeah, Derek Coleman, Sean Kemp. Yep, for sure, Sean Kemp. Yep, I used to love Sean Kemp and Bernard King, Sean Kemp, and Gary Payton. I used to love that Sonic scene back in the day.
The government is going to change the definition of black. The government is going to say, for now on, because right now they give you a choice. Right now they say you can say mixed race, or you can say, I identify as black. Right now is what do you identify as? That's the hook. Once most of us are mixed race who don't identify as black, the government is going to say, okay, we've decided it's time for us to redefine blackness. Blackness is
Umar, cut it out. All y'all up in, well, not all, 99% of y'all in here who are black, you have an admixture. So cut it out. You too, Umar. Stop. Frederick Douglass was half white. You claim you didn't even know you ain't related. But there's a reason why Jamal Johnson is lighter skinned. He has like lighter color eyes. There's a reason for that. It's okay. I don't get it. What's the big deal? It's just all this blackity black talk. Horace Grant was another great power forward too. He's underrated too, in my opinion. You know, I don't get it. Yeah, Kenyon Martin is another one. I just, man, yep. Kenyon Martin was a beast back in the day. Yep. Anyway, let's keep going.
Is now a person with two black parents. If you don't have a black mother and a black father, you're not black.
Right.
You're automatically biracial and mixed race. In other words, there would no longer be a preference for how you identify. The government is going to stamp you.
And again, I'm not saying all y'all. I'm saying that most of y'all. Okay, if you're going to do a DNA test, it's not going to be all out of Africa. Most of y'all, 99% of y'all. Okay, we got about 900. So there may be 9 of y'all up in here right now where everything comes back, and even that, everything comes back as your ancestry, everything comes out of Africa. But the vast majority of y'all, the rest of y'all, if you go do a DNA test, and that's just the reality of the situation. And I'm not speaking specifically for me. I'm talking about in general for black people here in the United States of America, specifically here in the United States of America. Okay? Anyway.
And once they say the only way you're allowed to call yourself black is if you have two black parents, that's going to eliminate the word black from the U.S. Census.
Wow.
There will be no more black people. Even if we still actually exist, on paper, you will be invisible.
Gotcha.
This is not the first time this has been done.
Yeah, Elvin
It was
Hayes
done in
was
Cuba. It was done in the Dominican Republic. It was done in Puerto Rico. It was done in a lot of the Latin American countries after slavery. The society was so black because remember, we outnumbered white people in many colonies.
Right.
In South Carolina, Mississippi, there were several colonies where there was more of us than them. A big reason why you had abolitionism, a big reason why white people organized to stop slavery wasn't because they cared about how you were being treated. We were overwhelming them with our numbers. And since most white people were not slave owners, they resented the fact that I'm living in a town, city, county that's predominantly black. You see that?
I do.
So
no, I don't see that. What in the world is this? Let me stop. Did he just say that? I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I misinterpreted what he's saying. Let me go back.
Colonies where there was more of us than them. A big reason why you had abolition in many colonies.
Right.
In South Carolina, Mississippi, there were several colonies where there was more of us than them.
Listen, is it possible? Yes, but overwhelmingly, we've always been, I'm talking about as quote unquote black people, let's just be more specific, as enslaved Africans, we've always been, I shouldn't even say that because I've never been a slave. Enslaved Africans here in the United States of America were always a minority. So what are you talking about, Umar? From the jump, and nothing's changed. If you bring it all the way to 2026, ain't nothing changed.
A big reason why you had abolitionism, a big reason why white people organized to stop slavery wasn't because they cared about how you were being treated. We were overwhelming them with our numbers. And since most white people were not slave owners, they resented the fact that I'm living in a town, city, county that's predominantly black. You see that?
I do.
So abolitionism was about slowing down our numbers more than it was about you being free. And it definitely wasn't about you being equal, because you can't show me a single abolitionist white who ever fought for black equality. You can't show me one.
Gotcha.
So getting back to my point.
Yes, no. I would agree with that, but that wasn't like the norm. And at no point was it that enslaved Africans had a greater population than any other group of people here in a greater population than white people here in the United States of America. So and I said this earlier, I think what Umar is doing is he's taking an extreme example that is possible, and he's trying to apply that to everything, to the whole population, but it just doesn't work that way. See, at no point have enslaved Africans outnumbered white people here in the United States of America. And if we want to go all the way, even the descendants of those enslaved Africans, myself included, here in 2026, we've never outnumbered white people. Okay? But I think Umar, it's like a cherry picking. That's what he's doing here. But I do see your point. I acknowledge that. Okay, here we go.
What they did in these Latin American countries is after we lightened ourselves up enough.
Where's the school at, bro? Talking. I think he's going to bring up the school. So someone that brought it up that he does bring up the school. Okay, so we'll see what he says on that. We'll keep going here. Thank you guys so much. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. We got about 940 people in the building. If you are enjoying the show and you haven't hit that like button, go and hit that like button. Our goal is 500 likes during this live stream, and right now we're sitting pretty at 393. Okay, let's see if we can get to 500 before we get up out of here. And the poll question for today: when was FDMG originally supposed to open? 70% say 2013, 20% said 2017, 6% said 2021, and 4% said 2025. Okay, I'm gonna leave this up for just a little bit longer, but I want to bring up another poll question before we get up out of here. All right, here we go.
With the white man knowing we were only doing this because we wanted access to whiteness. Right? And we hated who we were.
Right.
The government said we can kill off black real quick. Now, since y'all so light, we're going to give you the privilege of not even having to call yourself biracial no more. We're going to let you call yourself white. And so once black people got white enough, right? They let them start identifying as white to eliminate the need to address any black issues.
What is he talking about? Because that's not the case here in the United States of America. Maybe he's talking about some other place. That's not what's happened here. Anyway.
And even though I'm going to let you identify as white, I'm still going to treat you black.
Yep.
You follow me?
Yep.
But because you changed your identity, you killed your existence on paper. That's exactly what they're doing to black America right now. History.
This is ridiculous. I don't even understand what the point he's trying to make here.
Always repeats itself. And those who don't know it become slaves to it.
And as you say this,
oh, is he talking about the Latinos? Okay, he's talking about Latinos now. All right, so okay, yeah, I know Swaggerito. Again, he's applying something that happened someplace else to here to prove his point. Umar's a trip. Here we go.
I'm thinking to myself, it's even being programmed in the commercials. We see these cartoons, we see
the movies, all media. How do we go from the Cosby Show, all black, right? The Jeffersons, well, you did have bunny hopping in the Jeffersons. In fact, the Jeffersons was the first miniseries sitcom in American history where you had a mainstay interracial couple. So they started.
Yeah, but anything though is the Cosby Show. It wasn't all black. What are you talking about? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was the Cosby Show all black? So, listen, someone in the chat room, correct me. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. I just don't remember it being all black. Yeah, I know. I saw that today, Yellow Man. I was thinking about getting it again, but I said no. I'm not going to do it. They did. They lowered it to $22.99. It used to be $19.99 for the Game Pass Ultimate. I think that's the one we had. But what I did was I just bought all the games that I would play on it, which is only Starfield anyway. I just bought it and I have it on my PC. But now they changed the price. I might do it for the kids if they could. But I got them for their computer. I just got whatever game they would play on there. I just bought it for them on Steam when it was on sale. So I don't know, but I saw that today. I was like, okay, all right. Yeah, Lisa Bonet was mixed. I had a crush on Lisa Bonet. I ain't gonna lie about it. Lisa Bonet was mixed. I think she's black and Jewish. I think, if memory serves me correctly. So what is Umar talking about? what's her name? Even Claire, if you guys remember when she was when the first episodes, a couple of episodes, she wasn't a lawyer. She was a housewife, and she would talk Spanish. Oh, if you can't, what are you saying, Lenon? Are you saying that if you talk Spanish, you can't be black? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this idea of blackness that Umar is trying to present in dealing with the Cosby Show, it's not true. Because she really kind of, even when she would talk Spanish, it's like Latina flavor. Don't get mad at me, please. Don't get mad, because I love Latina women. I think y'all some of the most beautiful women. That's why I was gonna become a Jedi when they had, what's the name in that, what you call it? Y'all know what I'm talking about. And even Rosie Perez in Do the Right Thing. But yeah, I was gonna be a Jedi. So I was gonna be a Jedi. I kid you not. You guys know what I'm talking about. What's that lady's name that they get? Let me stop. Somebody said Venezuelans go crazy. What's up, Asa? Even though I'm young, Rosie looks, yeah, boy, she looked good, boy. I tell you, boy, I did that about that part with the ice spice, whatever it was. You guys know what I'm talking about? What the thing's called? Anyway, yeah, you guys seen Ahsoka? Rosario Dawson? I said, I'm gonna be a Jedi. After Yoda was like, no, you're too old. Too old you are. I said, what you mean? Too old, you crush the cookies you will. That's all shit. They wouldn't even let me. They said, nah, we can't have you because we know what the time, we know what the deal is. Anyway, what was the problem? I was trying to make a point. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, let's go.
Started to push it slightly. But after Barack Obama would become president.
Oh, the point I was going to make is, and please, I don't want people to get mad at me. And the way that I saw, in retrospect, if you go back to the first couple of episodes of the Cosby Show, Claire was really presenting as a Latina woman. And when she would get upset, she would start talking Spanish, but it would sound like a Latina woman would talk. Man, you gotta cut my drill. Anyway, so the point that I want to make is that the Cosby Show was not all black, Umar. Cut it out.
They ramped it up because now we have a mixed race president. So he's making it real popular to have a white parent. You see?
Right.
And that's why right around Barack Obama's presidency, I
don't know who this is. Let me go look it up.
He ran for office in 2008. He took office in 2009. And it was either in the 2000 census, right? 8 years before his campaign, or the 2010 census, the year after he took office. That's when they added biracial and multiracial. All of this was planned.
Wow.
All of this was planned.
Oh, she's a Puerto Rican singer, songwriter, and dancer. Yeah, I'm not familiar with her. Yeah. Okay.
If we're going to change the color of Black America, we need a face Black people love and respect, so it does not look as unacceptable as it used to.
I just have to say this too. So not only because Umar ain't talking about nothing. I'm really waiting for him to get to the scoop part. But I was watching this movie with Halle Berry in it a couple of 2 days ago. It's on, I think it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. It's called the something Crime 101 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was good. It was good. It was pretty good. But I was looking at her, and as she's gotten older, she actually looks Latina. She does. Okay, and I don't think she is, but if you look at her as she's aged, she actually looks like a Latino. Okay.
Remember,
and for the record, I never had a crush on Halle Berry too. By the way, just want to say that.
Once upon a time, you better not come home with a white girl. Right. Once upon a time, you better not come home with a
You're getting fresh again, Lenon. Listen, I can talk this talk because I'm married. I'm good. I ain't never cheated on my wife. I've just never been that kind of person. Never been. I'm loyal like a hound dog, but a fine woman is a fine woman. Okay? And I'll acknowledge that. What y'all don't think? Am I wrong on that? She don't look like. Okay, well, just for me, that's what I thought. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm always not. And that's the thing. When I saw that Monsters Ball, I said, never mind. I said, you know what? Yeah, Crime 101. That's what it's called. It was a good movie. Pretty good. Okay, here we go.
White girl.
Come on now.
But Barack Obama made it acceptable to be mixed race.
Yep.
And so behind Obamaism, they came with this whole agenda.
Okay, listen, what do you mean you make it okay to be mixed race? It is okay. You're mixed race too, Umar. Like I said, most y'all up in here right now, 99% of y'all mixed race. If you have ancestry here in the United States of America that goes back to enslaved Africans. But you see how he says it? Makes it acceptable as if it's not acceptable? What are you talking about? As if it wasn't acceptable prior to Barack Obama?
Now let's oversaturate the media with an image of interracial black-white couples. Notice they do this with no other group. How many times have you seen a Mexican and a Chinese in a commercial as a couple?
Never.
How many times have you seen an Arab and a Native American?
Well, you really don't see Native. I don't mean to be like that. But real talk, you don't really see Native Americans in commercials. So that's a bad example, Umar. The other one, that was a good example, but that one right there, no, come on. You never see an Eskimo and a South African together. What are you talking about? Who are you tripping? Who are you tripping? Yeah, he said Arab. That's what he said. I can't believe this guy. You never see a Native American. No disrespect to the Native Americans either, but you don't really see Native Americans in any commercials. Real talk, you don't really see Native Americans on TV all that often. Okay, there was a Predator movie they did. That was a Native American in the Predator movie. Okay, it was a good movie, but that was rare. All right, you got to go back to stuff like, you know, the Wolves, the Run with the Wolves movie. Yeah, remember that one? I had a crush on that lady too, by the way. But Kevin Costner, I think his name was Kevin Costner. It was something like that. There was some Native American. Shout out to the Native American Africans. Yeah. Dances with Wolves. Yeah. And then the other one was Prey. So every once in a while, you'll see. Shout out to the Native Americans. Okay. All right. Anyway, I wonder what was that lady's name too. Let me go see, because I sure did. Dances with Wolves cast. Yeah, her name is Mary McDonald. Mary McDonald. She's 73 years old now. She's old. Yeah, I'm looking at the old picture from the movie. Maybe it's just because her hair was kind of wild. Maybe then she's redhead. That's probably what the problem is, Anyway. Well, I said, Lenon clearly has no time. Not really. That's when I was young, though, because that movie's old. That movie's real old. It was 20 years. Dances with Wolves. It's got to be over 20 years old. Yeah, that movie came out in 1990. So, yeah, that movie's 35 years old. Yeah, so I was probably about 15, 16. I saw that movie. And I had a little crush. I ain't going to lie about it, man. All right. Then who haven't you had a crush? It's not that many. It sounds like it's a lot, because when I bring it up, I'll say a whole bunch. Not a whole bunch, but I'll say a few over and over again. And so it sounds like it's a lot. But if you really think about it, it's really not. It's not a lot. Okay. Just want to be clear about that. Yeah, I thought she was. Yeah, I thought she was pretty back then. Yeah, yeah. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not a lot. Okay. Yeah, no, it's just I acknowledge a beautiful woman is a beautiful woman, and that's just what it is. It's no disrespect to nobody, including my wife. It just is what it is. Okay. he said Lenon's middle name is Crush. Is it a lot? Yeah, Shaka Khan. I had a crush on Shaka Khan for real. Yeah, Dolly Parton as well. Neil, kind of, but not really. I mean, yeah. Anyway, let's get back to it. Here we go.
As a couple,
I've never seen it.
Right. You don't see it.
Yeah, maybe 2 dozen.
It's only group. Mm-hmm. How many times have you seen a Mexican and a Chinese in a commercial as a couple?
Mexican. He said a Mexican. He said a Mexican and a Chinese. A Mexican and Chinese walking to a bar. What are you talking about? He said a Mexican and a Chinese walking to a bar. All right.
Never.
yeah. He said a Chinese. I kid you not, y'all. I was watching the history of China today. I kid you not. I still have it archived here. It's called Rise of China because it's long. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of it. It's 2 hours and 59 minutes long. It's called Rise of China, and in all parts. It's on Epic History here on YouTube. And it's not like all of China is the same. You got the different Mandarin, and I mean that's the language, but there was the Anhui, the Hubei, the FDMG, but all kind. It's not just what he said. The Chinese. he said a Chinese. That's what he said. Okay, let's get back. Here we go.
Acceptable to be mixed race. Yep. And so behind Obamaism, they came with this whole agenda. Now let's oversaturate the media with an image of interracial black-white couples. Notice they do this with no other group. Mm-hmm. How many times have you seen a Mexican and a Chinese in a commercial?
He's a Mexican and a Chinese. Wow.
As a couple?
Never.
How many times have you seen an Arab and a Native American as a couple?
That's a bad example. He said an Arab and a Native American. Like I said, Native American, you don't really see them on TV in general. Okay, no disrespect. What's up, Hassa? Thank you for tuning in. Hassa says, what it do? Cookie Crush chat. What's up, information man? Hope you're doing all right, bro. There's Umar Johnson full of Franken beans. Full of Franken beans and bull jive. You right about that. Salute to you, sir. Thank you for tuning in. I ain't seen you in a while. Hope you do it all right. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Let me just get caught up in here. Someone that brought up Bernard King. Yeah, another power forward. Yeah, he's a power forward. Why he wants to be related to Frederick Douglass so bad? Well, Miss Honey, part of it is that Umar needs validation, so it validates him, and he's been using Frederick Douglass as a means of validation. That's why he always brings it up. People would not have seen him in a particular way, especially as a black leader, if he hadn't brought that to the table. So he still runs with the lie. He knows that it's a lie. He knows that it's untrue. And he's marketed himself. He'll say that he didn't, but even back in 2013, he's marketing himself. The flyers that he puts up where he's talking about something, he'll put up an image of Frederick Douglass too. There's this one image I saw today, and I said, this guy is nuts. Let me see if I can find it. Let me show you all this right quick. And this is just part of it with Umar, part of the reason, because it validates him. Let me go to 2013. Yeah, here we go right here. I said Umar ain't got no sense. See this? Look. Look at this. This is so utterly, it's I don't even know what the term is. I mean, you have to be, I don't even know what to call this. Desperate. You have to be extremely desperate to do something like this. it's just I'm going to show you guys 3 other ones too. This is just from 2013. So part of the validation, it's part of it is to validate himself. So he wants to associate himself with the historical figure, because it makes him feel as if he's important, when in point of fact, he hasn't really done anything else. He just run his mouth. Yeah, not one black child been educated by this guy. Here's another example of it right here. See how they put Frederick Douglass right there? They even put a little patch on his jacket of Frederick Douglass. Ridiculous. So part of the marketing was as if he was Frederick Douglass, I guess, reincarnate. I don't know. Here's another example of the foolishness. So it gives him validation. He would go to the gravesite too. And this one's interesting too, because you see where Umar is sitting. Okay, because he's the center of the attention. I mean, it shows the gravesite, but I can't remember what that thing is called. The marker. Well, actually, this is Harriet Tubman. This is just another example. This one is the Frederick Douglass one right here. But this is another example. He has to be at the center of it all. Right. So whether it's Harriet Tubman, he said he's related to Harriet Tubman as well, or it's Frederick Douglass. He said that he's related to Frederick Douglass. It's been a marketing strategy for Umar. But I don't think that's everything. I think also, Miss Honey, part of it is that he was told that lie at a very early age, and it gave him something to be proud about and to identify with. And it really meant a lot to him at the young age. The story is crazy. The young age of 11 in 1985. Why did he just learn about Frederick, that he was related to Frederick Douglass? He didn't learn about it until 1985 when he's 11 years old. His daddy told him about it. That doesn't make any sense. Again, his daddy wasn't consistently present, but you would think that when Umar Johnson is born, from the time that he's born, that this is common knowledge in the family. But he doesn't find out until he's 11. See, I think that Jamal Johnson just lied to Umar, or he was lied to, and then passed the lie on. But see, the thing is that even if he was told that Jamal, when he was younger, why didn't he bring that up? Outside of Umar. Furthermore, why didn't he tell his children, with Umar Johnson's mama, why didn't he tell those children that they were related to Frederick Douglass too at a very early age? Again, he was in the military, but he could have written a letter in 1974. Well, he didn't get it in 1975, but 1975, 1976, 1977, 1978, 1979, 1980, etc., to tell them, hey, listen, this wants you to know that you're related to Frederick Douglass. Umar doesn't find out until 1985. Story's not adding up. Well, the truth is that they're not related. So I think that there's a lot of different things. Again, the sense of validation, also the sense of identity. Umar's identity has been tied to this lie since he was 11 years old, and it made him feel good about himself. It's hard to let that go. And here we are, many years after his father told the truth in 2018, and Umar's still riding with the lie in 2026. Okay, thanks, Miss Honey. Honestly, who says great grand cousin? Nobody. I know, but again, it allows Umar to make a connection with Frederick Douglass. It's a false connection, but it's still a connection nonetheless. See, he doesn't say, I'm a descendant of Stephen Bailey. He doesn't say that. That's not what he says. That's not the focus. See, in any of these promos, whether it's in 2013, 2012, 2011, 2010, all up to present, you don't see Umar with a picture of cousin Bailey, right? Which would be his great grand uncle. You don't see that. Why not? Because Bailey is not Stephen Bailey is not well known like someone like Frederick Douglass, but Umar has to connect himself to Frederick Douglass. Even though there is no genetic relationship, there's no blood relationship, the DNA already proved that they're not related to Frederick Douglass, so the Baileys. Right? So this is a great point. Who says great grand cousin? Nobody. But Umar says it because it allows him to reach a little bit closer to Frederick Douglass. And that's what he promotes mainly. He doesn't even talk about cousin Steve. All right. Yeah, so just real quick, this when I saw this, I said, man, this guy, he's ridiculous. He's used this to ingratiate himself into the Black community. Okay. Again, Umar has not done anything of consequence. He runs his mouth, he talks, but he hasn't done anything of consequence. But he connects himself to many historical figures in different ways to validate himself. All right. Okay. Thank you, not Max and Miss Honey. Let me just get caught up in here. Umar's nemesis, Seti, Lenon, a job, Roland Martin, and Terry. I'm gonna set that poll question up in just a moment. Okay, give me 1 second. Thank you, TJ. JCSU says Umar Johnson is a wrestler performing a show. He wears the colors, he wears the necklaces for the image of it. Yeah, we were just talking about this of validity. You proposed this almost over an hour ago for the image of validity. You're right. He talks like Macho Man and Hulk Hogan selling a wrestling event. Yeah, and that's why when he went on that rage thing against Seti, it was like a WW. It reminded me of WWF because I grew up watching WWF. The WWE came a little bit later, but by that time I wasn't really watching wrestling. I watched wrestling WWF like way back in the day. Junkyard Dog, Superfly Snooker, Hulk Hogan, of course, Andre the Giant, those types of people. Roddy Piper comes to mind too. Coco Beware. So back then. But Umar, clearly he used to watch that too. But the thing with Umar is a lot of stuff in his early childhood is ingrained in him, and then he plays that out. And so I think that part of what we saw in the Seti rant was Umar playing the role as if he's in some sort of a wrestling, because it was like skits that they used to do back then. I don't know. I'm sure they still do them, but back then it was skits that they used to run. And so that's what it reminded me of. And Umar says that, he even says it. Are you the conscious Hulk Hogan? And he calls Seti, he calls him Seti's Macho Man, Seti Savage or something like that. Okay, he's drawing upon the childhood programming in those respects. Oh, okay. Yeah, the dog wanted me. Okay. Anyway, a great point right here, Jay Civic. That all of this is about portraying a particular image for validation purposes. All right. Thank you, Jason, for the super chat. So Umar's becoming okay. I got that one earlier. Okay, I think I'm all caught up with the super chats. Let me just scroll down again. Thanks again, information man. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Moo Tuesday. All right, Tiffany Tappy. Moo Tuesday. Okay, yeah, I was getting a little out of control. Holly Berry is my 4 times great grand aunt, 30 times removed. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, thank you, Max. TJ says, Lenon, okay, I got this earlier. Make the poll about Umar Johnson's true nemesis fan. Okay, I'll do that right now, Laura. Let's do that right now. Okay, so let me close out this other poll. We had over 1,000 votes on this other poll. When was FDMG originally supposed to open? 70% said 2013, 20% said 2017, 6% said 2021, and 4% said 2025. Let me go ahead and close out this poll. Again, I just think it's important to kind of every once in a while bring this particular topic up, because it kind of gets lost in this whole Umar Johnson saga. And here is the receipt right here. In my opinion, it's the most important receipt that anyone, including Umar Johnson, follows, that you would be able to see, that should see, in order to recognize what's really going on with this FDMG school scam. So this is from January 6, 2010. All right, this is over 16 years ago. Umar Abdullah Johnson promises in 2010 to begin laying the groundwork for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Pan African School for Black boys, specializing in learning disabilities and disruptive behavior disorders. This will be a private school, and yes, you will pay in order for your son to attend. Grand opening September 11, 2013. This is chess, not checkers. Right. So the original grand opening date was set in 2010, and it was set for September 11, 2013. This school, FDMG, is 13 years late in counting. Okay, again, we have to deal with the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation, Umar, he never had any intention of opening up a school. He never did. He didn't have one then. He doesn't have one now. Someone sent me a Cash App as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And they said for only 8% of black men marry white women. Yeah, I'm not sure what the figure is. I can look it up, but I'm not sure. But Umar, he just overstates it over and over again. The point is that Umar's not married to a black woman. So what's the difference between a black man who marries a white woman and Umar not marrying a black woman? He creates baby mamas, though. See my point? All right. And don't take care of his kids. Anyway. Okay, thank you, Laurie. I'm gonna set that up right now, and then Yanis, I just got that one. Thank you so much for the cash app. I appreciate it. Everyone else, if you send in cash app, you sent in PayPal. Thank you so much for the support. There was something else another point I was gonna make about this. Promising in 2010 to begin landing ground for Frederick Douglass, Mark Carver, Pan Africanism, for specialized learners, buildings, and trust. This would be a private school, and yes, you would pay more for your son. Okay, I can't remember what the other point I was gonna make, but I'll leave it right there. Okay, let's continue with this, and while I do this, I'll set up another poll. Here we go.
Never seen it.
Right? You don't see it. It's only black and non-black, and mostly black and white. They're using our self-hate to kill us off numerically. And if we don't stop,
okay, that's ridiculous.
good brother, we're going to go down in history as the only.
You know, the thing is, I mean, which one is it? Because see, the whole black thing is you all are complaining. I'm not saying y'all, because the whole black conscious space, I'm not saying everybody, but there's this whole thing about complaining about how there's not equal representation. There was a time as there's not enough of us in movies, there's not enough of us in on TV, there's not enough of blah, blah, blah. List goes on and on. But then when black people are presented in movies, television, commercials, so forth, now there's another problem. You know, we're standing next to, as Umar says, a Chinese person, or a Native American person, or an Arab. Okay, what do you want exactly? You're going to complain about everything then, right? Then it'd be two black people. Well, yeah, but this black person had a jerry curl. This woman had a weave. Okay, well, which one do you want then? Anyway, all right, let me set this poll up. Here we go.
Only people in world history to exterminate themselves.
Wow. So is that all of this? Is that your motivation behind Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy? Is that your?
Here we go.
The bunny hopping per se.
What?
And the reason I say that, if you teach our children who they are, to love themselves, and to be the best that they can, and being proud to be African, you're not going to bunny hop anyway. You see what I'm saying? So when people bring up, are you opening your school and are you going to teach them the?
Okay, real quick, Umar, there's plenty of people from Africa who are date outside of quote unquote race. So cut it out. Okay. I'm talking about people from Africa that live there. So cut it out.
To be against this or to be against that, I don't have to. If I teach them to be
Easter Dashiki. Umar, you ain't teaching nobody though. But the other thing is you ain't teaching no kids. You don't teach your own kids. You're a deadbeat. Right.
African, they won't want to be none of that anyway.
Right.
I don't have to teach them to not want to be pretendian or any of these other nonsense movements we didn't came up with because we hate being black. I don't have to teach them none of that. If I teach them to love who they are, the rest to take care of itself. I don't have to teach them to love and respect the black woman. If I teach them to love being African, they're going to do it anyway.
That's ridiculous because you don't have no respect or love for black women. You just run through them. That's all. You have no respect. And I can pull up examples right now of you thoroughly disrespecting black women, including Zora, including your baby mamas from 2025. Those videos were horrible. The fish tank crap that you was talking. The conscious stripper, the list goes on. Umar was dealing with a stripper anyway, and he knew he said, I didn't know. I just didn't know, I didn't. No, you knew come on, cut it out. What you mean you didn't know? I'm not here to judge, but she was a stripper. She was scripping. At the school. No. She wasn't scripping at the school, but she was scripping. Hit the one. And she was getting it in. I didn't watch it. I just was doing the research for the, because I'm doing a documentary, so I was doing the research. And she was on that pole. Umar, you do, because she sent you some booty pics. Cut it out. She did. She sent you them booty pics. Cut it out. I had to blur it out. It was a lot. It was a lot. I had to blur it out. And one time she told Umar that she got to go get on that pole to get that donation money. I kid you. I kid you. I said, wow. Now that's dedication. we gonna educate these kids. Okay, it's gonna get done, family. And if we get these black women on the pole, somebody said Lenon was watching the script for research. It was up for research purposes, yes, as it were. She did impersonations too. You know, she did Janet Jackson, you know, Tina Turner. Okay. Anyway, the point is, he knew what was going down. But then he wanted to exit. I didn't know, family. Honestly, she presented as a conscious black woman. She had a dashiki on. She had on a dashiki dress, and shea butter was all plastered on her neck. Stop, Umar. You knew she was on that pole. And that's okay. All right. Just be honest about it. That's what you like. That's what you like. That's not my cup of tea, but you know, I did watch it for research purposes. I'll just play it. Okay. Well, no, I did watch it for research purposes. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. All right. Okay, so let me put this poll up right quick. Who is Umar Johnson's nemesis? All right, go and get your vote in as we get closer to winding this down. All right. We're at 467 likes. Our goal is 500. So if you're enjoying the show and you haven't hit that like button, go on ahead and take it 2 seconds, but it helps tremendously with the with the algorithm. FDMG string. Oh my God. Did somebody say that? Somebody, this Courtney, did somebody say twerking for tots? Oh my God. That's crazy. Who said that? That's crazy. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but that's crazy. DD, who said that? I'm trying to find out who said that. Yeah, I rewinded a couple of times. I did. I'm not gonna lie about it, but especially when she did that one movie. I was shocked. I've never seen anything like it. I was shocked. Honestly, I have to rewind that. Okay. But no, she did. She said she got to go to work to get on that pole to make that school donation money. I have the screenshot of it. I ain't gonna show it to y'all though. Anyway, I couldn't find out who said that, but that's crazy. Okay. This chat room. Did people vote? Wow, you got okay. So who is Umar Johnson's nemesis? 13% said Tariq, 75% said Lenon, 5% said Roland Martin, 7% said Seti. Wow, I can't believe this. I'm at 70. It's 74%. 92 votes so far. Get your vote in. Okay. Okay, let's get going here. Somebody, boy, you guys. And then a couple of super stickers here. Super chats here. Umar never says anything new or interesting. Well, the thing I think if you listen to him long enough, I think that becomes the case. But for newer people, a lot of this they may be fascinated by it. You know, I would say that if you've done any research into Umar, you realize that his talking points are the same. In fact, talking points from 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013 are similar to his talking points in 2026. I can say that, but I've researched Umar extensively. But I'll propose that if a person takes the time to watch Umar, you don't necessarily have to do extensive research for like 2 years, you realize very quickly that his talking points are the same. In fact, his talking points on here, you can tell it's almost like it's scripted. You can tell these are the same type of questions that he's gotten on the Breakfast Club. You know, nothing extraordinary. So it's true. It's true that if you listen to Umar long enough, or if you've done extensive research, because it doesn't have to be extensive research, but enough research over, let's say, 3 months, you will realize very quickly that his talking points are they're regurgitated. You know, nothing really new. Okay? Thanks, Jazz. Ratted R4 Robin says, "Hey, Lenon, do you think one of these podcasters will ever go rogue and ask him any critical questions? Also, what do you think will be the end of for FDMG?" Okay, do I think that these podcasters will ever go rogue and ask him any critical questions? I think that Umar is careful about what podcasts he goes on. Very rarely has Umar been challenged. And sometimes he may be asked a question that is a critical question, but he's great at deflecting. And for whatever reason, there are because Big Loon, as an example, Big Loon should have stayed on that particular question when he asked about the school. You ain't raised $1 million. And Umar, one time he said, "I've never had $1 million at any given time, like at one period of time." Okay, well, then the follow-up question should have been, okay, well, have you ever raised $1 million over the course of the last decade, the last 12 years, the last 16 years? Have you raised $1 million in total? He didn't ask that question. So the thing is that those types of platforms, they placate to Umar anyway. They cater to Umar. So in that sense, no, I don't think that that's going to happen. And Umar, I think he's very careful about what platforms he goes on. As an example, would he ever come onto my platform? No. Because I would ask him critical questions. And when he deflects, I would come back to the question. And he'll deflect again, I'll come right back to the question. And he'll deflect again, I'll come up to the question. And the fact that he doesn't answer the question proves that in essence, that he's a con artist. And then what I would do is I would answer the question for him and then provide the receipt to show it, to prove my case. So no, I don't think that these podcasts will ever go rogue and ask him any critical questions. But when they have in the past, he deflects. And then they don't hold him to task. But that's because they placate to him in the first place. What do I think will be the end for FDMG? Well, I said it earlier this year. I think I may have said it even last year, that inevitably he's going to either lose these buildings or he's going to find a comfortable excuse to sell these buildings and just extend the scam someplace else. That's what I think. So what do I mean by he inevitably he'll lose the buildings? Well, last year he almost lost these buildings because he wasn't paying different bills associated with these properties, and it hadn't paid. Some of these bills go back to 2019, and some of those bills went back to the previous owner. That when he purchased them, he was responsible. When he purchased these trap bandos in February 2019, he's responsible for those old bills that weren't paid because he purchased the property. And those bills come with the property. And then since that time, he wasn't paying bills. So the way I look at this is that if Umar doesn't pay bills consistently, including the vacant property list, the bills associated with being on the vacant property list, and he doesn't do that, he doesn't pay the bills, he doesn't pay the vacant property list, and he's in from 2019 through 2025. Are we to expect that from 2026 onward that he's going to be paying these bills? No, it would be foolish to think that. Number one, he don't handle business. He's not a responsible adult. He don't pay bills on time. In some cases, he don't pay the bills. But number two, he ain't got the money like he had back in the day that was coming in like it used to come in. So what I would say is that inevitably what's going to happen if this goes on, and I don't think that it will, but if this goes on for another 3-4 years, he's going to end up right back where he was at with the city, and they're threatening to put these trap banners up for sheriff's sale because he hasn't paid bills again. That's what would happen if this goes on that long. I don't anticipate it going on that long because it's possible that Umar will simply find an excuse to sell these trap bandos, take the money, and run. Okay, he can go move to Africa, or he'll go to someplace else in and around wherever, I don't know, and says, listen, we're looking and start it over, and we're looking for another building and start over again. Again, he said in 2010, the school's going to be September 11, 2013, That's in 2010. He doesn't actually acquire a trap bando building until 2019. It takes Umar 9 years to get a building. So who's to say that he doesn't sell these trap bandos and take another 9 years to find a building? Now, there's other possibilities too, but I'm not going to speak those possibilities into existence because I want to give Umar the benefit of the doubt. But the truth of the matter is that this will not go on indefinitely. And Umar knows that. He just has to figure out a way. And I'm sure he's already thought about this, figuring out a way to extend this even further. But the bottom line is that Umar's never going, just like Jay Morrison. Jay Morrison will never get the type of money that he got when he started that TREF, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. See, that was a validation too. Tulsa real estate. We're going to buy back the block. We're going to turn Tulsa to Tulsa this, Tulsa that. Umar, Frederick Douglass this, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, same thing. But Umar will never get the type of money that he got in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, then 21. It's not going to happen. So it can't go on forever. We'll have to wait and see. Okay. Thank you, rated R for Robin. Okay, I think I'm all caught up inside. And thanks, Laurie, too, for the super chat too. I put up the poll question. Who is Umar Johnson's nemesis? 13% said Tariq, 73% said Lenon, 5% said Roland Martin, and 8% said Sig. Okay, make sure you get your vote in. We're at 489 likes. We need 11 more to get the goal for today. All right. Let's get back to it because we're already at 2 hours and 30 minutes. I know I said we were going to go, what did I say? I said 2 hours and 30 minutes. So we got 4 minutes to finish this up. Here we go. I think I said 2. I can't even remember. All right, here we go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's the status on the school?
The status on the school right now, good brother, we completed all renovations, which includes the clean out on Frederick Douglass's birthday, February 14th.
Again, he's saying February 14th of 2026, but I have him on record saying I think it was August of 2023 that renovations were completed. Right.
And so today is the 14th?
The 14th.
So we're 2 months. Haven't been completed. And the reason we don't have our certificate of occupancy is, unfortunately, we have a
here we go
building inspector who is of Black immigrant descent.
Here he go. He's still running with it. This is a shame. Umar, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Who does not care for Dr. Umar at all.
Boy, this guy, he creates these lies and he will run with these lies.
And he's trying to delay our final inspection as much as he can with as many excuses as he possibly can.
See, this is Umar. It's gaslighting. None of this is true because renovations aren't complete. Umar, and I looked on the website, there is no information on the website that shows that Umar Johnson passed or failed an inspection. Now, because what Umar is doing, because he knows that it becomes public record. Umar knows that. So what he's doing is saying, listen, we haven't, they won't even do the final, and it's not even a final inspection. I broke this down a couple of weeks ago. It's not a final inspection. It's a series of inspections. It's not a final one. But you can't even, you wouldn't even go to that step of going through these inspections unless renovations are complete in the first place, but renovations are never complete. I'll ask the critical question for you Umar Johnson supporters. Has Umar provided you guys with conclusive proof, not evidence, but conclusive proof that renovations are complete? I'll answer the question for you, and the answer is no. Has Umar done a walkthrough of each one of these rooms, including the bathrooms, to show that renovations are complete? No. Has he gone into the server room to show that he has a backbone, an IT infrastructure back there inside these buildings? And the answer is no. Has he gone through and shown all the floors? No. Has he gone through and shown that everything is painted up to par? No. Why not? Because renovations are not complete. And you best believe that if they were, Umar would be online bragging every single day. I wouldn't even say every single day, but every other day about how he finally got it done to get money out of people. But he's not doing that. Why? Because he knows that if he walks through, people gonna know right away that he lied. Excuse me. Just like he lied in 2023 about renovation being completed. Well, he lied in 2026. So Umar knows that he can't come out and say that he applied for a certificate of occupancy, because if he applies for a certificate of occupancy, and he schedules for people to come, the inspections to start, that it's going to become public record whether or not these bandos passed or failed. He knows that they would fail. So what does he do? Because he doesn't want to get to that point because it becomes public record. People will know right away something ain't right. What does he do? He says it's being held up by this immigrant, this black immigrant. Here we go with the xenophobia. He's pulling that card with this black immigrant, Jamaican immigrant. And so therefore, it's not Umar's fault. It's not that the renovations, it ain't got nothing to do with renovations not being complete. No, they're not complete. It's this black immigrant's fault now. That's what he's doing. Instead of holding himself accountable as a man and saying, listen, I lied about renovations being complete back in 2023 and I lied again in 2026, he has to blame someone else. He's been doing this shit for years. It's always someone else's fault. But the fact that he comes up with this lie, and this is not the first time that he's told it. He told this lie on the Father David's podcast radio show. I think it was about maybe 3 weeks ago, and now he's doubling down on it. Has Umar provided any proof that there is this immigrant, this black immigrant, that's holding this up because he doesn't like me? What kind of shit is that? This is business. Has he provided any receipts on that actually happened to you? Umar Johnson follows. The answer is no. Don't believe the shit unless there's some type of document associated with. See, when I say that the school, Umar said the school was supposed to open September 11, 2013, I can actually pull up a receipt to show you that Umar Johnson stated that. And there it is right there. Grand opening September 11, 2013. When I say that Umar Johnson is not related to Frederick Douglass, I can pull up a receipt and show you that. Here's his father, Jamal Johnson, admitting June 25th of 2018 that they were not related to Frederick Douglass. DNA test. I can pull up a receipt and show it to you guys. But when Umar makes these claims about, in this case, about this immigrant, this black immigrant who's holding up this process of this final inspection because he doesn't like Umar, where is the receipt on that? It doesn't exist. When Umar says that renovations are completed, where is the receipt on that? It doesn't exist. Why not? Because it's not true. Well, see, that's what I'm saying, Domo. I don't think Umar even knows what this process is. And I showed you guys the paperwork, one of these live streams, last week. Not last week, I didn't live stream last week. I showed you the paperwork. They have checklists, and it's not just one inspector to do all of these inspections on these checklists. That's not how this works. Umar don't even know that. That's how I know he lying. Well, it's not a final inspection. That's not how that works. I showed see, when I said that, I can pull up the paperwork right now. Right now. That's what Umar said. He was yelling and shit. Yes, it's a process. Yeah. Yeah, he never said what failed inspection because he never put in. I did the research. You can either call the phone number or you can actually go on the website and schedule it. And it's not one inspection. They have these lists. Anyway, Umar, I don't even think he knows. Not a real check says, I can tell you that the Tuskegee FDMG airport is fully furnished. It's right next to the horse stable. Okay. And the Tuskegee, what is the Tuskegee FDMG airport? Once and actually twice. Umar said that he was in contact with someone who was going to have people, the brothers from the Tuskegee Airmen, a brother from the Tuskegee Airmen come and teach the children at FDMG how to fly airplanes. Come on, this guy, he's nuts. And then someone also said these Tuskegee Airmen, and most of them they've already passed away, rest in peace, but at their age, they would not be licensed to fly, and they wouldn't even be allowed to fly using modern day aircraft. And I thought about it, I said, you're absolutely right about that. Because I'll be watching these, and I don't watch as much, but I used to watch these shows. They be not fighter pilot, but pilots. And so actually one guy was Harvey, I think his name was. He was a fighter pilot, mentor pilot, and then there's another one. His name is Harvey. I like that guy. And they talk about these types of things because they do analysis of plane crashes and then the Swiss cheese model, and then they break it all down. It's fascinating stuff for the analysis part of it. But when that person said that in the chat room, they was like, the Tuskegee Airmen, most of them they already passed away, but they wouldn't even be qualified to teach airplanes in modern aircraft because they just wouldn't be equipped and allowed. Because anyway, I thought about saying absolutely right about that. I just want to show you all this right quick because again, we can always provide a receipt. When not a real check says the FDMG airport. Okay, I know it sounds like they're joking. Okay, and part of this is a joke. I get that, but this is what Umar proposed back in the day in 2014, March of 2014. And if you guys look at the top of this Africa-shaped mass, a 500-acre campus encircled by FDMG River in the shape of Mother Africa, there is a landing. It's like an air. I don't know what you would call this. A landing strip for airplanes, and there's hangars for the airplanes and helicopters. I would presume 2 of them at the top, and then there's the landing strip there where they can land, like an airport. There's an air traffic control tower there too. Sports facility, like a track and field facility, a baseball diamond, like a baseball field. There's a hospital, there's 2 schools, and the list goes on and on. But this gets into the code dynamic of what Umar Johnson conceptualized because there's one way in, one way out, and this is like a code compound. Okay, so anyway, yeah, that the FDMG airport, and he should name it the Tuskegee Airmen FDMG Airport, something like that. Yeah, that's up there at the top of this code compound there from 2014. Thank you, not a real check for super chat. Appreciate it. And Umar never mentions names of people or places. Yeah, he just makes up stuff. A lot of what he says, I've talked about this. You don't see specificity, especially when he first outlines these lies. But then as he kind of expands on them over time and recites them over and over again, they get more and more complex. But whenever it comes to these types of situations, he never drops a name. What about the black contractors who scammed him? See, it's always someone else's fault. What about the banking institution that tried to freeze his bank accounts? Okay, well, who were you talking to exactly? What's their name? He doesn't have that. He said something recently, or no, not recently, but when Umar was talking about, he was thinking about selling the schools. He said it was a white guy had contacted him, but he didn't know the guy's name. Why don't you know the guy's name? He never has names because it's just the shit he makes up. And then later on, if he's questioned on it, he may start to kind of give a little bit more information, a little bit of information, but all of that should be out there in the beginning when he comes up with these claims, which are just really ways of him not holding himself accountable for being a perpetual failure and being thoroughly incompetent. Listen, Estevades, Umar doesn't even know the process of inspection. He doesn't know. Someone said in the chat earlier, it's a process. It is. Umar thinks it's just one inspection. That's why he says it's a final inspection. No, it's not no final inspection. I got the paperwork. I showed it earlier this month. Okay, thanks, Estevades. And then Jason says, Umar Johnson on podcast more than the school. You're right about that. He made that transition quite, about maybe 2 years ago. You'll see him where he's doing more podcasts and he's not up at these trap battles as much. And what I've noticed over the years, 2019 he was up there a lot. 2020 he was up there a whole lot. 2021 he's up there around the same. Then you get to 2022, not as much. 2023, not as much. 2024, not there at all, really. 2025, even less. And then here we are in 2026, minimal, right? But he will go on the podcast though. Yeah. Thanks, Jay Civic. Full super chat. Okay, let's get back to it, everyone. Here we go.
And I've known the whole 7 years that we've owned the school that he did not care for me. And
okay, that doesn't make any sense. 7 years. Here's the other thing. If because this business, this person would be a professional, and if they're not operating professionally, then you would go to their superior, and you could actually sue them for whatever reason. Because I guess I don't know, Umar's discrimination. Because this person is a black immigrant. Here we go. It's the immigrants against it's the black immigrants against the blacks, right? And I'm impartial because I have ancestors that were immigrants, and I have ancestors that were enslaved Africans. So I'm impartial. But you see how he's trying to spin this narrative that it's about the black immigrants against the black Americans now. And he said it's the freedmen and the other one. We're us, the freedmen. Okay, I thought you was African though. So what you talking about? Instead of him holding himself accountable, he has to blame someone else. But you mean to tell me that you've known this shit for 7 years? Well, at year one, you should have been like, okay, let me talk to their superior, or let me have someone else handle this. And it's not one inspection, it's many inspections. And that person is not going to conduct all the inspections. There's an inspection for the health quality of the environment. There's an inspection for the roof. There's an inspection for HVAC. That's not one person that comes to do all that. Inspection for the plumbing, inspection for the electricity, inspection for egress issues. Okay, that's probably going to fall under the fire suppression system or fire alarms, fire extinguisher, etc. There's it's the fire marshal that comes out to do that. I've already done the research on this. There's people who send me information on that too. So shout out to y'all. So the point is, Umar acts like it's just one person that's going to do this one thing. No, it's a multiple things. It's going to be multiple people. So you mean to tell me after 7 years you ain't figured that shit out, Umar? Man, I mean, it's two things. One, you're incompetent. You're incompetent, but you're also a horrible liar too.
Now we're really seeing it. We should have already been inspected. We should have already been. So we're too.
See, notice that Umar doesn't say that he actually applied for anything for inspections. He's not going to say that because he hasn't. Look at this crazy loony ass. Look at him.
Months haven't been completed. And the reason we don't have our certificate of occupancy is, unfortunately, we have a building inspector who is of black immigrant descent, who does not care for Dr. Umar at all. And he's trying to delay our final inspection as much as he can with as many excuses as he possibly can.
See, no, Umar is the one that's doing this. See the gaslighting? He's the one with coming up with any excuse over and over again, delaying over and over again. Truth be told, Umar's been delaying since 2010. He said the school's going to open in 2013. It's 2026. But he flips this around and tries to play the victim and act like someone else is doing. He's always the victim. I know it's crazy. He's such a liar. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. I'm gonna show you all this paperwork in just a second too.
And I've known the whole 7 years that we've owned the school that he did not.
He acts like they're in a relationship.
Not care for me. And now we're really seeing it. We should have already been inspected. We should have already been approved. So
okay, no. Renovations aren't completed. But here's the question. See, the question you should ask, well, did you apply? See, Umar hasn't applied because he knows the renovations aren't completed.
Right now, I'm consulting with some attorneys to see what our next move should be.
He always say that.
I may have to request a meeting with the commissioner of the Land and Use Department.
Cut it out.
That oversees.
Listen, if you knew this 7 years ago, why didn't you do that 7 years ago? See how he's just a horrible liar.
Final building inspections and certificates of occupancy. I may have to speak with the mayor because if they're going to allow this gentleman, and it's a shame that I even have to say I'm being opposed by a building inspector of black immigrant descent, because as a Pan Africanist, we view everybody as family. All of us are.
Listen, Umar, the only reason why you're saying that is because that's what I said. Hit the one. See, you're goofy. Hit the one. Give me a second. That's the only reason why he said hit the one. I'm gonna change these batteries out. Give me 1 second, everybody.
School that he did not care for me, and now we're really seeing it. We should have already been inspected. We should have already been approved. So right now, I'm consulting with some attorneys to see what our next move should be. I may have to request a meeting with the commissioner of the Land and Use Department that oversees final building inspections and certificates of occupancy. I may have to speak with the mayor because if they're going to allow this gentleman, and it's a shame that I even have to say I'm being opposed by a building inspector of Black immigrant descent because as a Pan Africanist, we view everybody as family. All
right, now. The only reason why you're saying that, Umar, is because you're trying to correct your error based upon what I said. And for those of you guys who remember when we first broke this down, and again, this isn't the first time that Umar Johnson has spoken about and created this false narrative about this Black immigrant who happens to be Jamaican. Umar first brought up this lie and this false narrative when he was on Father David's podcast, and we analyzed it when we covered it. And one of the things I said was that, Umar, why would you create this and again, it's the xenophobic, but why would you concoct this whole false narrative and try to blame this Black immigrant, Jamaican immigrant, when you're a Pan-Africanist? First of all, none of this is real. For Umar doesn't even know what the process is to get a certificate of occupancy. He thinks it's one final inspection, which if you say it's a final inspection, that means that there were other inspections that have taken place already. But no, there hasn't been any inspections that have taken place. Furthermore, renovations aren't complete in the first place. So these are lies stacked up on top of lies like Wakanda fries. So in the first place, Umar's lying, but in the second place, he wants to blame Black immigrants using this whole xenophobic type of a narrative and propaganda to disparage these other groups of people because he doesn't want to hold himself accountable. So he wants to throw Black immigrants under the bus, and I called that shit out. And I said specifically, I'm paraphrasing, that Umar, if you're supposed to be this Pan-Africanist, right? Why would you do something like this, which is very divisive, and you're supposed to be all-inclusive, right? That's what I said. Umar's repeating what I said. Hit the one. This ain't the first time. See, it shows a couple of things. Number one, that Umar watches these live streams and has for years. He be sitting back laughing at some of the shit because the shit's funny. But more importantly, I think it shows just how inept Umar is in the face of logic and reason and critical analysis. See, all of a sudden, Umar, he spins it all, and as a Pan-Africanist, I shouldn't be. No, that's what I said. You just repeat what I said. It ain't the first time. Because when I was calling you, and it's true, you're the great deceiver of our time in the Black conscious space, Umar started using that terminology himself. Hit the one. He did it. He posted a couple of memes talking about the great deceiver. No, you got that from me. Cut it out. See, the truth is, though, Umar, you shouldn't have created this lie in the first place. So you lied in the first place, said the renovation would complete in 2023, then you lie again in 2020, said the renovation complete in 2026. Now you lying and saying that the reason why we can't get a certificate of occupancy is because of this Black immigrant, this Jamaican immigrant that don't like me. And I've known it now for 7 years. Well, if you've known it for 7 years, and a person acting unprofessionally, why don't you go to the proper channels and get this cleared up? And the truth be told, it's not just one person that will come out to do the inspection. I'm going to show you guys in just a moment. Umar watches these shows, and because we called him out for quote unquote being an alleged Pan-Africanist, but he's creating all this division, and this ain't the only, because he's divisive all the way across the board. But why would you create this story to throw this Black immigrant under the bus? And it's all a lie when you're supposed to be a Pan-Africanist. You shouldn't be a liar in the first place, but at least if you're a Pan-Africanist, you shouldn't be doing this. Let's go.
To say I'm being opposed by a building inspector of Black immigrant descent because as a Pan-Africanist, we view everybody as family. All of us are equal. I don't care where you come from, whether you from Haiti, Puerto Rico, Turks and Caicos.
See, he's just trying to clear it up now.
St. Thomas, St. Croix, whether you from.
Yeah, I got the pager. I sure did. I'll show it y'all in just a moment.
South Africa, Namibia, Uganda, Ethiopia.
He's trying to clear it up.
Nigeria, Canada, South Pacific, Australia. I don't care. We one race.
Right.
That's what Pan Africanism is all about. So
Yeah, but you sure did throw the black contractors under the bus, hit the one, and the black electricians under the bus, hit the two. Y'all remember this? Disparaged the black people, but then you said I had to go to the white man. I went to the white man, and the white man they cleared it up. They did enough. They did in 3 weeks. They did all the work that we couldn't get black people to do in 15 years, whatever he said. he always disparaged black people. We all equal. Cut it out.
to me, it is not only oxymoronic, it's also very insulting that someone who pushes unity amongst African people globally.
Umar's never pushed unity amongst black people, period. I know he's saying Africa, but he's never been, he's not a unifier. He burns bridges. I always forget the term. It's always extremes with this guy. He's polarizing. That's what it is, because his rhetoric is extremely divisive. I mean, think about it. Umar, when he talks about black parents, he talks about them poorly. That's divisive. When he talks about children, it's negative. It's disrespectful. When he talks about black people who date outside the race, whatever, he ain't married to nobody, but it's all divisive. He's a very divisive person. And that now he wants to try to clear things up because we called him out. He watches these shows.
Is actually
up here looking like let me stop.
Being opposed by someone who doesn't care for me being a black freedman.
See, now he's using the terminology freedman. All right, that's the whole DAFA, the descendants of African freedmen something. Freedmen Association or something like that. Freedmen Africans. I don't know what the shit is. I don't know. Whatever Umar said it is, that's what it is. But that's divisive. He creates that. It's a divisive ploy. So now he's trying to put that onto this alleged immigrant inspector. Yeah, that's what it. Donate all funds again, DAFA. Dirty ass fucking something. I don't know. Yeah. The Django Freeman. I don't know. What are you talking about, Patriot? That Nacho Bell Grande today. The blouse Umar wearing looked like a veggie pizza from Domino's. Dafa, deadbeat ass father always. Oh my God, this good chat room is nuts. Yeah, he up there looking like a whole quilt. He wearing a whole quilt. Sharif said he got on the Bible. Dafa, don't ask Fool Mark again. Okay. All right, let me get up out of this chat room. Freedman, and associates. Yeah, Umar talking about he a freedman all of a sudden. Umar wearing his favorite moo-moo. Okay. Dafa, do anything for anything. All right, let me get up out this chat room. Man, let's keep going. Y'all crazy.
Up a school in the name of the first hero of that person's ancestral homeland.
And that's
what are you talking? Oh, he talking because he's Jamaican and then Marcus Garvey. See, he's saying that because I mentioned that. See that? See, I said, Umar, you gonna throw these black immigrants from Jamaica under the bus, but you named the school. No, someone else brought that up in the chat room. So I want to get that. I can't remember the person is. I want to give them credit. But you're gonna name the school after a man who was from Jamaica, Marcus Garvey. See that? But see, now Umar's trying to correct that because he watched that live stream. And someone called him out on his Instagram page too. They sure did.
Something that, so I cut hair, right? And one of the
So do I. I cut hair too.
The things that my first interaction, because I come from a place where it's just, Black people and it's a traditional Black American, right? One of the things that I realized in coming to Murfreesboro is diverse. It's a college town, university here, MTSU. One of the things that I realized one of the things that I found out that the world is much bigger than I thought. I've seen a lot of different types of Black Americans or even, Africans from straight from the motherland. And I would see these people disassociate themselves from us. They would say things like, "Oh, I'm not Black. I'm Haitian. I'm not Black. I'm this."
Yeah, well, that's because they have Haitian ancestry, and see again, most people who come over here, they don't want to be identified. Most people wouldn't want to be identified as Black because within the social structure, Black is at the bottom of the social structure. It's a class system. Furthermore, there are people who have what is the term? They're proud of their heritage. That's what the term is. That's why even there's people who are from Africa. If you call them African, they may get offended by that. Not because they don't like Africans, but because they're more specific. They'll say, "I'm Ghanaian," and then they may give you a tribe, and because they're proud about their heritage, right? So people not wanting to identify as being Black, people shouldn't, because see that he's almost like this brother's kind of going with Umar's narrative about this Black immigrant from Jamaica and how this Black immigrant from Jamaica doesn't want to help Umar, or is not supportive of Umar, doesn't like Umar because he hates that Umar is Black, because Umar is of African descent, but he's a freeman. So I think that the Paco's podcast host is trying to go along with that narrative. But understand that if someone from another country comes over here and doesn't want to identify as being Black, that's their prerogative. They have a right to do that. And if they don't want to be classified, let's say if they're from Africa somewhere, they don't want to be called African, that's their prerogative too, because they have heritage and they're proud of their heritage. They want to acknowledge that heritage. Nothing wrong with that either.
And I was taken aback by that because a person listening to people like you my whole life, my first time reading the autobiography of Malcolm X was when I was like 11 years old. Somebody who followed these type of people and these are my heroes. I thought we were all together, but I seen this separation.
No, but it's not even amongst Black people. It's not like we all believe the same thing. So I think this is part of the problem with Umar's part of the problem with Umar's rhetoric. He says everyone's African, but then he'll say Black too. So which one is it? But it's like he's trying to paint it as if it's so simplified. No, amongst Black people, different cultural practices, different belief systems, even different fashion styles, even how the different way we talk, different dialects too. In a sense, people from New York sound different than people from Southern California. People from down south sound different. People, you guys understand what I'm saying? So it's not like that we're all the same, that we all have the same belief system, and that we're all quote unquote Black Pan Africanists. That's not the case at all. So even amongst Black people, the idea or notion that we all, we're homogenized, if you will, that there's this collective, it's a misrepresentation of reality. That's just not the case.
Go ahead.
And it kind of gave me a little disdain.
See Umar sniffing?
The autobiography of Malcolm X was when I was like 11 years old. Somebody who followed these type of people and these are my heroes. I thought we were all together, but I seen this separation.
Go ahead.
And it kind of gave me a little disdain towards our.
Yeah, but you see, it's not a separation. It's just that all Black people are not the same. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. So it's easier. I'm going to tell you the reason why Umar simplifies is because it's easier to try to control people if you can try to put everyone inside of a very small box. And that's what Umar attempts to do. He's been doing that for many years. I think it's part of the Cope mentality. That if you can say that all Black people are the same, and what Umar says is that we're all African. First of all, I'm not African. I have African ancestry, but I'm not African. If we want to go with the whole Black thing, if I say I'm Black, that doesn't mean that I'm the same as the next Black man or the next Black woman, for that matter. Well, I mean, it's deep. Some of us like certain types of music where, other people don't like, other Black people don't like that type of music. Some black people like certain types of food, other black people don't. But Umar act like we all do this, all want the same thing. That's not how this works. But if you're a controlling individual and you have this narcissism, and then you have this cult type of personality where you feel as if you should be able to control everybody, then yeah, you want to simplify the complexities, because in oversimplifying things, it's easier to control things. You don't have to deal with so many other factors that you would have to consider if you're dealing with reality. So this young brother you have a disdain, no, it's part of the illusion that you bought into, that somehow black people or even African people or immigrants for that matter, that because their skin color looks a certain way, that somehow we are all the same. It's simply not true. And not just that we're all the same, but we all believe the same thing and that we all live the same way. It's just not true.
Our sisters over there in Africa.
Yes.
Why is that? Why is the
Okay.
separation?
First of all, you have to recognize the influence and the impact of the unseen hand.
Right.
You and I cannot call ourselves progressive. Forget even Pan Africanism. Put that to the side. And I never put it to the side, but put it to the side. We cannot call ourselves progressive if we can't step back and recognize that all of us are being used against each other.
Right.
With conditioning that came from the slave master.
See, he always got to blame white people. Ain't got nothing to do with that. Even in Africa, everybody hate the same. Oh, it's because of the white men. No. Before colonialization, before white people even got it, for Europeans, I should say, before Europeans came up over there. What you mean, everybody over there in Africa was the same? Stop the bullshit. Different language, different dialects, different cultural practices, different features, physical features, spiritual systems, economic systems, political systems. We were all the same? No, they was fighting up over there too. What you talking about? Listen, I know people want to try to make it utopia. Africa, this, and it was back when we were kings and queens, and Africa was perfect. It was so, no, they had their problems too. I'll propose that slavery wouldn't even have happened if they didn't have them problems up over there. Real talk, but we ain't gonna get into that right now. See, if they was all the same and they was all on the same page, you think that slavery would have taken place? Then up in North Africa, when slavery started, send the pigeon down. Let's go send the pigeons out. Put the word out, and everybody come from South Africa, Middle Africa, over there in West. Hey, all come up there. Because it was utopia. It was utopia. They had internet. They used pigeons. Then one was on the West Coast. They start coming up over there. They send the pigeons out. Everyone from North Africa, East Africa, down to South Africa, Mississippi. They all come over there. What's up? What's he gonna do? Yeah, see what I'm saying? All right. I know it's gonna piss people off, but hey, just being real about it.
Whether you
Somebody said South Central Africa, all of them. Let me stop. The Bloods, the Crips,
was enslaved on African soil called colonialism, or whether you was enslaved in a foreign land called slavery, we are all victims of white supremacy. There is no African on the planet Earth. I don't care if you call yourself Nation of Islam. I don't care if you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite. I don't care if you call yourself a Moor, a Nawapian, a God in Earth, a Baptist, a Methodist, an Episcopalian, a Sunni Muslim.
You all over the place, Umar.
An Orthodox Muslim, a Hanifi Muslim, a Ahmadiyya Muslim. I don't care what you call yourself. If you are of African descent, you are a victim of white supremacy.
Right.
So I'm not a victim of white supremacy. Have I had to deal with racism? Yes, but I don't consider myself to be a victim. You can get it if you try. It's a mentality. That's all. Is it unfair? Yeah, the shit's unfair, but so fucking what? If I can't change all that, all I can do is do the best that I can every single day. And when you're doing that, you're not trying to blame other people. You're not complaining about shit you ain't got no control over. Would you like to change it tomorrow? Yeah. And things have changed. A lot of things have changed here in the United States of America. There was a time, if you was thirsty, there was a waterfront, you couldn't even drink from the same waterfront. You couldn't even ride on the same bus, none of that. So is it fair? No. Has it historically been fair? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm a victim. Not going to do it. But see, Umar spins this rhetoric as if all black people are the same. We all have the same experiences, the same belief systems, and we're all being victimized by white supremacy to such a degree to where we can't come together. Now, someone made an important point, Afropunk, that slavery and colorism is not only an African-American issue. You're right. It's not just an African-American issue. You're absolutely right about that. Right?
Okay. Up until the 20th century, Britain controlled nearly 25% of all the land in the world and about 40% of all the people in the world. You understand me?
Right.
They were the largest empire of them all. All of us were victims of white supremacy. So when a Nigerian comes to Tennessee,
See Umar dealing with that nose,
acting like he's better than a black freedman.
see how he's using that terminology, black freedman, because he's making a delineation between black Americans, here in the United States of America, he's saying descendants of African freedmen, and black immigrants. You see what he's doing here? He's still doing, and then you see how he tried to correct himself and say, well, I'm a Pan-Africanist and we're all together, but then he goes right back to the other divisive rhetoric. So which one is it? By the way, the Spurs lost. Trailblazers 106-103. Wemby is in had a hard fall, and they're saying that he was concussed on a hard fall, so he may be out indefinitely. Also, Philly, they beat Boston 111-97, and then the Lakers are winning up by 10, 36-26 over the Houston Rockets. We're going to go here for another 11 minutes, and I'll close this out, and then we'll come back and finish this up tomorrow. Okay, I wasn't planning on live stream tomorrow, but we'll get together tomorrow too. Okay. Let me get to these super chats too. Did we reach the goal on likes, everybody? Yeah, we reached the goal. Our goal was 500. We're at 539. Let's see if we get to 600 before we get up out of here. If you're enjoying the show and you haven't hit that like button, go ahead. It only take you a couple of seconds to do that, but it helps out tremendously. The poll question: who is Umar Johnson's nemesis? 19% said Tariq, 70% said Lenon, which I'm Lenon, by the way. 5% said Roland Martin, and 6% said SETI. I'm surprised by that. 70%, man. Okay, I'll take it. Let me go ahead and close out that poll. Thank you guys, everyone who voted on that. And okay, again, let's try to see if we can get to 600. We're going to go for another 10 minutes here, and we'll close this out. And then again, I'll set up the show for tomorrow. We'll do part 2. Let's see. How's it going? Big Dave says a strong alpha male like Umar can't overcome one man. I thought the ancestors were behind him because he's the chosen one. It doesn't add up, does it? See, one person is stopping Umar now. He couldn't rectify this over the last 7 years based upon what he's saying. Again, I don't believe any of it, but you can't correct this. That's why he's a horrible liar. If you apply logic and reason and critical thinking. See, the logic is that if you had a problem like this, why would you let it linger for 7 years? Why wouldn't you take and this is a critical thinking part 2. Critical question. Why didn't you take the steps to rectify this back in 2019? Another critical question is, how is it that you're being held up by one person who happens to be an immigrant, a black immigrant from Jamaica? You know how they say Jamaica? And he has a problem with you because you're now all of a sudden you're a freedman, DAFA, whatever it is. Well, why didn't you rectify this back in 2019? Go to the proper channels to get this cleared up. Furthermore, why would you only be stuck on one person when it's going to be a slew of individuals who are going to need to come out to do inspections, not inspection, not one final one? See, the story doesn't even make any sense. Furthermore, if you're the chosen one and you're the Black Christ, that's what Umar's called himself. He's called him the chosen one. I'm the Black Christ. You're the Prince of Pan Africanism. You can't overcome this one man with all the ancestors and all this other stuff too. See, Big Dave, even a deeper question is, if you all this and all that, Umar, why would you even have to lie like this? Isn't that deep? Why would you even have to come up with this foolishness in the first place? If you, the most requested scholar, you got 6 degrees. You the Prince of Pan Africanism, the most requested scholar. Black America's #1 school psychologist. That's what he called himself in 2013. You can't get through why you gotta lie? Well, because you're incompetent and you never hold yourself accountable. That's your true nemesis. I know I don't want here to hold you accountable. I get that. But your true nemesis is accountability. You're supposed to be a strong alpha male on top of that. No, this weak. It's weakness. It's due to incompetence. Okay? Real talk, men hold themselves accountable. Real men, we hold ourselves accountable. When we mess up, we hold ourselves accountable. Then we make changes. Not Umar. He's still running. He's still doing the same thing. See, he was lying back in 2010. He's lying in 2026. Ain't nothing changed. Thanks, Big Dave. See, it says Umar met with the law office of Hagen. Yeah, he loved Haagen-Dazs. There's this one video, I wish I had it, but he had some Haagen-Dazs. He was eating it in the hotel room. He's like, I kid you not, and I'm trying to eat healthier, family, but I can't give up my Haagen-Dazs. I said, what the fuck? Wish I had that video. I said, this guy is nuts. Anyway, I got another thing from 2013 where he's talking about Haagen-Dazs. I have the next segment of the documentary. Anyway, thanks, TJ. I get you. That was one of the weirdest things. All right, thanks, TJ. Lewis says, so we only going to be here for 2 hours. Did I say 2 hours? Okay, all right. Well, it's only 3 hours. It's about an hour, a little over an hour. Okay, that's all. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow to finish this stuff. Thanks, Lewis Luck. And then Lewis Luck also says, I'm sick of this phony Pan-African ideology that promotes this unity that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's okay. See, Umar wants to act like all white people are all in cahoots with each other with this whole white supremacy scheme, but they got problems amongst each other too. What are you talking about? All you gotta do is go live with some poor white people. You'll see it very quickly. Okay. Unity that doesn't exist, forcing an identity you can't prove onto someone else who doesn't want it if a form of cultural imperialism. You're absolutely right about that. See, Umar's whole orientation, you're right. You're absolutely right. He's a cultural imperialist. Damn. That's deep. It is. See, Umar talks about white supremacy, and that part of that is cultural imperialism, but he's a cultural imperialist himself. But I think Umar's orientation is not from like this. It's not about statehood or a country. It's more like a cult where there's cultural imperialism, where he expects all Black people to be the same. He expects all Black people to do what he says. He expects all Black people to wear what he tells them that they should wear. The Black women to wear their hair the way they're supposed to wear. Black men date who he says you're supposed to date. Black men, Black women, Black men have procreate with who he says you're supposed to procreate with, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's cultural imperialism. You also got to be African. You can't tell me that I'm African. I'm not African. That's okay. Listen, if I got up tomorrow and said I'm African, all of a sudden, is it going to make me feel better? No. Does it change anything? No. But Umar, with this cultural imperialism, he wants to push that onto all Black people as if all Black people were a monolith. And it's so far from the reality of the situation. And no group of people is a monolith, including white people. Umar, did you know that? White people, some white people, they be talking bad about other white people. Some of you are like, what are you talking about? No, they do. They got terminology and for that and everything. Hillbilly, there's another one too. I can't remember what it is. A white trash, horrible thing to say. But they're white, but they'll talk about other white people that are impoverished and maybe these white people, they're middle class or middle class, they're just white trash, trailer trash. Well, yeah, but I thought that they're all part of white supremacy. If they're white supremacy, they're all together, right? And no, that's not how that works. Well, the same thing amongst Black people. We won't use that title. We're not all the same either. Again, if you want to present as if a group of people they're all the same, and you expect them to be that because you say so, well, that's cultural imperialism. That's some deep shit right there, Luz. I ain't never thought about that. I may quote you on that one. And I will. Umar is a cultural imperialist. Lewis Luck. Let me put this in there right now. Umar is a cultural imperialist. This is so true. This way I'll remember. When I say it again, I'll remember that you're the one who said it. There you go. Yeah, that's bars. Umar is a cultural imperialist. Yep. Shout out Lewis Luck on that one. Thanks for everyone else too. Thanks for all the super chats too. I appreciate it. Yeah, Paul Moody, you would say it's such a waste of life. Yeah. Okay, let's I know I said we were gonna let's do 5 more minutes. I just want to get a little further into this, but we'll get to part 2 tomorrow. We'll get right into it tomorrow. Here we go.
When a Jamaican comes to Wilmington, Delaware, and wants to mistreat me and try to delay my building inspection because he don't like me opening up.
Boy, this is some bull jive. A Jamaican comes to Wilmington. What are you saying, that this Jamaican guy didn't like you and was following you with this FDMG school scam, and then when you get these trap bandos in Wilmington in February 2019, he moves to the United States of America so he can fuck your shit up? Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry. I apologize, ma'am. I've been a little loose with the tongue. Is that what you're saying? You ain't raised $1 million? Is that what he? I don't know. It don't make no sense. I know someone said it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense to me. Is that, how's it going, Miss Vernica? Is that what he's saying? Y'all stop calling him, man. Don't do that. You guys been calling him Jabba. He do look like that sitting in that chair. But don't do that to him, y'all. Okay? Jamaicans are coming to town. Now you see what I said before when he first brought this false narrative. It's a lie, but he brought it up on Father David Show. I told y'all that there wasn't a lot of specificity, but now you see how there's more specificity. So now this Jamaican brother, okay, Brother Bob, then we're gonna call him Brother Bob. He comes to Wilmington to sabotage Umar. Is that what he's saying? It is. It's so ridiculous what this guy's saying. Yeah, mistreat me. Yeah, I know. But the way he's saying it, as if he came to. Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay.
Aryan comes to Tennessee acting like he's better than a black freedman. When a Jamaican comes to Wilmington, Delaware, and wants to mistreat me and try to delay my building inspection because he don't like me opening up a school in the name of Marcus Garvey, right?
In the name of Marcus Garvey. But you see what he's saying here? It sounds as if, Umar is saying that this inspector came to Wilmington specifically to sabotage Umar. It's crazy.
Right. I got to look beyond that. I don't react because, first of all, I have great relationships with all my Caribbean African brothers and sisters, right?
He always does this. He'll throw people under the bus or groups of people under the bus, but then he'll try to rectify it. And this is his way of doing that. When he went in on Zora, who is Zora is I can't remember. It's an island. I can't remember. Well, my wife has a friend who's from there. When he threw her under the bus, you guys, which island? Let me just. Yeah, Haitian. She was Haitian. She's Haitian American. When he threw her under the bus, I can pull the video, but we're gonna close this out. When he threw her under the bus and went off and went crazy, when he was doing that, he would also take a moment every once in a while to say, "I love my Haitian sisters." Yeah, no. That's him trying to correct the disrespect. Well, he's doing it here too. Yeah, she was Haitian. Yeah, Zora. Yeah. Okay.
I love Jamaica. Jamaica love me. This don't change my opinion to Jamaica. It don't change my relationship with Jamaica. This is one self-hating Negro who's trying to stop me from opening up a school for black.
So now he's a self-hating Negro. Okay.
Boys, that's it. We cannot generalize to an entire nation, an entire ethnic group, an entire continent, an entire race based on our experience with a few. Absolutely. I have been victim to.
Here he go. He always has to be the victim. This is the narcissism. Okay, one more minute.
Discriminatory remarks in Africa. As popular as I am, I'm the most popular Pan-Africanist in the world.
Okay, Umar's not even a Pan-Africanist. In fact, I ran across this receipt. I think it's Molefi Molefi Asante, I think. Molefi Kete Asante. Yeah, he wrote books, and I read some of those when I was in college the first time. I was probably about 18, 19 years old. I can't remember what books it was, but I know he wrote like kind of like a treatise on Pan-Africanism. But he also made comments about Umar and stated that Umar, he lacks a firm grasp of Afrocentric academic theory and philosophy. So Umar is not a Pan-Africanist. And people who are true Pan-Africanists, they don't recognize Umar as such because they recognize his rhetoric. It doesn't come from a place of Pan-Africanism. Okay, and if you have someone like Molefi Kete Asante saying that, you have a serious problem, Umar.
Maybe second to Ibrahim Traore. I've still felt the discrimination at times. I've had people say insulting things about American Africans on African soil, on Caribbean soil.
Yeah, well, that happens, but you be talking mess about other groups of people here on the soil here in the United States of America. So what's the big deal?
But because I understand you are a victim of your conditioning, I'm not going to treat you how you treat me.
I get it.
Everything is victimhood with this guy.
I'm on a mission to liberate African people. I cannot do that being so thin-skinned that if I get disrespected by an African from another place, I'm automatically going to reject every African from every other place. Yeah. And the hypocrisy of it, white people have had their foot on our necks for 4 centuries. We haven't rejected them yet. We still marry their daughters. We still go to their restaurants. We still
Umar, you ain't married not one black woman. Cut it out.
Still move in their neighborhoods. We still send our kids to their universities. We still buy all the garbage that they want to sell us. So help me understand. You got disrespected by a dozen black immigrants, Africans from abroad. And because a dozen black immigrants rubbed you the wrong way, you're going to turn your back on an entire race of 2 billion people because of 12. Yeah. Meanwhile, white people still give you their backside to kiss. You haven't shut them down yet.
Come on now.
I don't even understand where the conversation is going exactly. Who are you saying? You don't even, who are you talking about? The point is, Umar, you're the one who's thrown black immigrants under the bus, in particular, the Jamaican under the bus. That's what you did. Now you're trying to correct it, and then now you're trying to act like other people are doing what you did. There's got to be a term for that too, where you do something, and then it's really projection. That's really what it is. But there has to be another level to this, because what he's doing is, instead of him holding himself accountable for throwing this black immigrant under the bus, using this divisive rhetoric, xenophobic rhetoric about I'm a Dafa, a descendant of African freedmen, and that's separate from these black immigrants. Instead of owning up to that, he has to flip it. And he tells a story about how, I accept everyone as a Pan-Africanist, and then he starts to talk as if you all, not me, but that y'all black people, that you guys look upon you may be disrespected by 12 African people out of 2 billion, and then you look at the whole race a certain way. No. It's like a new level of projection. It's gaslighting. Yeah, it's gaslighting too. It's super projection. yeah, it's 12K projection. Right? That's what it is. Okay. All right. I got my page. I got to take it out the box. I got my page. I'll show it to you all tomorrow. I got my pager right here. It's red and black. All right. Okay. We're going to close it out right here. So tomorrow we'll pick up and we'll get right into it. I won't be wasting my time running my mouth like today, but that's because we ain't gotten together in a while. I'll schedule it right after this live stream is done. And we'll get back tomorrow to finish up with this. Let me just show you guys, we'll cover these receipts too tomorrow. See, Umar doesn't understand the process, the checklist that these inspectors, not just one, that they have to go through in order to pass these trap bandos off. Okay, you can see that, and from my research, they update this every 3 years or so, 3 or 4 years. So it says 2024, but this would apply for if he did this in 2026. And it's not a huge process to set this up in terms of scheduling. You can do that. You can call a number, or you can schedule it on the website. And then it's not just one inspector. There's different inspectors that come through and they go through these checklists. I think this is the same one. No, that's a different one. They go through these checklists. And if these trap bandos don't pass any of this, it's a fail. And Umar knows that it's not going to pass because renovations aren't complete. Now, last point I want to make is, you see how interesting this is. If Umar hadn't lied about inspections being completed in 2023, and if he hadn't lied about inspections being completed in 2026, he wouldn't have to put on all of this shucking and jiving. That's really what this is. What happens with Umar is that he starts with a lie, and then he has to create another lie to cover that lie, or not even to cover that lie up, but to make that lie continue. And then whatever that second lie is, he has to tell another lie to keep that going, so that all of these other two lies are able to continue in this timeline. And then he tells another lie, so that this lie, and then it starts to get perpetual, and it gets more and more outlandish. I've seen this with this guy so many times over these many, many years. And this is another example. Why is this the case, though? Why is Umar in this position? Last point. He's in this position because he lied in the first place. The critical question is, why did he lie in the first place? Well, for the same reason he lies so many times, and literally hundreds of times over the years, because he never holds himself accountable for his own failures. If renovations weren't complete, he should have just owned that. But he doesn't want to admit to his own failings. He didn't want to do that in 2023. He doesn't want to do that in 2026. But if he had just owned up to it and held himself accountable, he wouldn't have to go through all of this. But now look at where he's at today. And instead of in 2026 owning up to it, in this interview that came online yesterday, owning up to his own failures, he has to continue to lie and create more and more false narrative with more specificity now in order to cover up all the other lies. When does it stop, Umar? You watch these, because I can tell, even based upon some of the things you said, if you watch these live streams, you're trying to clear all this up with the whole bull job you was talking. See, but people already see, most people see who you are. You're divisive, and you don't care about nobody but yourself, and you will lie on the next man, including Black immigrants, whether they from Africa or from Jamaica, don't even matter. But you will lie on Black immigrants. You set this demarcation that you're different than they are, and Black people here, we're different than they are, and we are descendants of African freedmen, and they're not, but their hatred for us. But then you try to correct it all, and this no, it don't work. You've shown your true colors. You don't see human beings as being deserving of human decency and respect. Everyone is a resource to you. That's the narcissism. And if you have to throw Black people under the bus and call them Black Negroes, you'll do that, even though they're supposed to be Africans. If you have to throw Black immigrants from Jamaica or from wherever else, you'll do that, even though they're supposed to all be part of this whole Pan African world. If you have to throw Africans under the bus, you'll do that too. It doesn't matter to you, because no one in your twisted world thinking, no one is deserving of human decency and respect. That everyone is subject to what? Exploitation and cultural imperialism. Shout out to Louis Love. And I'll end it right there. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in to the live stream. I hope you all enjoyed the show. We reached the goal for likes, 569. I want to thank everyone inside of the Cookie Chat. Thanks to everyone who sent in super chats. I appreciate the support. If you sent in Cash Apps or PayPal, thank you for that as well. I do not take it for granted, and I appreciate everyone for showing up and hanging out during these live streams. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do part 2 to finish up with everything. And thanks to the mods, too, for handling the business. Okay? And as we always do.
And yes, school, $ FDMG school on your Cash App. 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 If you need to mail in your donation,
I agree, Davis.
Make it payable to the FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634. P.O. Box 9634. P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware. That is Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. We appreciate $1, but we would rather have 10. We appreciate $20, but we would rather have 50. We appreciate $50, but we would rather have 100. We appreciate $100, but we would rather have 200. We're trying to renovate a school, brothers and sisters. We're trying to renovate a school. We're not fixing a flat tire. We're not fixing a flat tire. We're not opening up a penny candy shop. We're not selling water ices. Okay? We're not selling hot dogs. We're renovating a school. Do you understand?
Thanks, peace within.
Do you understand? So please, brothers and sisters, give what you can. We're building an institution.
Okay? Good night to you.
Trying to give our children a chance that we didn't have. That's what we're doing. I don't have to pin it because I done already told you what it is. Don't be lazy. $ FDMG school. Don't be lazy. $ FDMG school.
Hope you're doing all right, sis.
Before I continue with my message, thank you, Sister Avanti, $10 coming on the Cash App. Thank you, sister. Next time, make it 20, but thank you for that 10. I know you barely had that. Thank you, sister.
Man, this guy, that's horrible. He said, next time, make it 20. All right. Thank you guys again for tuning on in. Had a wonderful time. We'll be back tomorrow with another one. But tomorrow we'll be here for about an hour. Okay.
FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's coming.
Okay, that's fine, Chris. Thank you.
Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this.
FDMG is coming.
Next time, make it 20.
It's coming. FDMG, it's coming. 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 Oh, it's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. Thought his personality be twerking. It's twerking.
If we had, that's too funny. All right. Thank you guys again. Wonderful show. I enjoy. Hey, I missed y'all. Wonderful show. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll probably get together for about an hour and 10 minutes. Not an hour, but an hour and 10 minutes. All right. Good night to everyone. Thank you again for tuning on in. Again, thanks everyone who sent in super chats or if you sent in cash or PayPal. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. And salute to the mods too and everyone here inside the Cook Chat. We'll be back tomorrow. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Take care. Peace.